My name is Gary Butterfield, he, him.
My name is Kole Ross, she, her.
And we're just recording a little wrapper thing in case you're wondering why this is on your feed or the news didn't reach you. As we're recording this last week, we lost Jeremy Greer, one of our friends who we met through our shows, through Bonfireside Chat, and who was a host on the network and everything. And we thought people, one of the things about Jeremy is, in addition to being a close friend, he was great.
Yeah.
He was really good on podcasts, very funny, very insightful, plugged up a lot of holes in our knowledge base.
Yes.
And stuff. So we thought, and he, I wrote a big thing on Patreon about this, but one of the things about Jeremy is he loved podcasts.
Yep.
He absolutely loved this medium. He did as many as we do, and he's only one person.
Yep.
So we thought we would rerun the Jeremy files, I guess.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with non-human biologics. So these are the Jeremy appearances. If you want to listen to kind of a chronology of him being on the shows,
yeah,
and revisit those appearances,
yeah, just go back, listen to him being great. Wanted to do this in remembrance. Yeah,
he cared about having his podcast stuff around.
Yep.
After he passed, so we're doing our part for his Duckfeed appearances here, I guess.
Yes.
And in case anybody wanted to listen back, save you the trouble of having to search through the archives.
Yeah, yeah. So
give a listen.
These will be hitting the feed. I don't know if it's going to be all at once or kind of all in rapid succession. But yeah, just that is why you're seeing this stuff.
Yeah, and if you're not interested in that and everything, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just ignore them as a thing. But if you are, here they are. And yeah.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
Do you not see? I was trying to usher in a better world.
And you will. However, not as you had hoped.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
And my name is Jeremy Greer.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is an immortal favorite.
And this week we are concluding our discussion of the game Immortal Unchained. Welcome back, Jeremy.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I love this place. I love the new looks, and I love the new art on the walls. And I love that I'm being able to cement my position as the person that has guested the most on Bonfireside Chat. So I don't know what you guys are doing next, but I'll try to finagle my way in there too. Don't worry.
Insinuate.
Still be Ms. Hornan on your territory. Gotta watch out. He's got the blue shell coming up. People, astute listeners, will know that we originally just said we were going to have a guest for the final wrap-up episode. This is not our final wrap-up episode. We decided to have bonus Jeremy.
Yes. Just why not?
Plenty of me to go around.
Yeah.
I mean, I can spread myself on this podcast cracker just so much.
Podcast of the crackers. Yeah. The spread with a Jeremy Schmear. Jeremy Schmear with a couple of crackers. It is a breakfast treat.
Yeah.
Oh boy. It's good to have you on to actually talk about the end stuff, though, because I figure during the next episode we'd probably talk about that stuff in the wrap up, and this way we can get you in on the first pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been listening along with you guys since you relaunched Bonfireside Chat, and it's been very, very enjoyable talking about this game that is kind of near and dear to my heart now. Like it's a good game, even though it has some weird issues to it. So I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. When I originally suggested this for WAF, I was hesitant to do so because it was a little difficult and it was a little rough around the edges. So I'm very, very happy to know that both of you are enjoying it. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. This is great. I like this game quite a bit.
And I've hence been Daughter of Ashed, so nothing is difficult anymore. Right. I now know the exact marker in which I quit a game, and it's not this.
Right.
So this is pretty comparatively smooth sailing.
But puts things in perspective.
Yeah. Let's start here with we're doing all the second kind of sets from the levels. We're going to do the back half of the Apex Citadel with the Legislative Archives. Hey, kids.
Hi.
Are you ready for some exciting video game lands? Like there's, the Snow Fortress and Bowser's Castle and the Legislative Archives.
Yeah. The pit of jurisprudence.
Yeah, we're gonna fight the short-tempered comptroller at the end of it.
You need to have 4 forms of ID, or we're not letting you unchained anymore. 4 forms.
When you beat this level, your character actually becomes the chairperson of the water district,
and the player is notarized.
Mm-hmm.
So. By beating this level, the player actually becomes notarized in their hometown.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that $60 a month payment for being the chairman of the water district is untaxable. So that's really good. If you beat this level, you get a lot of benefits.
Well, I mean, just the real hustles in the graft,
Yeah.
Cole, I'm in the water business. I know all about it.
Yeah. Just people cannot resist you when you have the power of a water district chairperson.
It's very true.
Yeah.
But it's very that everyone needs it to live.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to take advantage of that, you're leaving money on the table.
Yes.
Don't leave water on the table.
Yeah. So in a way, they're like gods that walk among us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like immortals. And they've been changed.
Yeah. So segue back to the task at hand. No, last episode we did the kind of the other two main spokes, right? We went to the Abyss and we fought the Queen of the Dead. We went to Arlen and we fought Arlen.
Yeah. And now we're in the archives.
Yeah. Now we're in the archives going after Malog.
Yep. This one's pretty easy to get to. This is near the the bonfire right before the boss of Skypath.
Yes.
So unlike the one in Viridian, this one's actually fairly easy to get to. And it's just these doors will now open. And once you get in, the whole citadel is shaken by this very angry roar, which, as we will talk about in quite a bit once we get there, is a little bit of a letdown.
Yes.
This is not tough as a boss. Like the area is actually hard as hell, but the boss is probably the easiest boss in the game.
Yeah.
Other than Old Carl.
The only reason that I am not flying off the handle at how difficult this spoke is because of how difficult the end is.
Yeah. This is difficult for sure.
Right. But it's real cool to get a chance to see how the Prime lived. It is very strange to see like comfortable sofas in a Souls-like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aldia never sat down.
No.
So.
I have an issue with the lights in this area because I have like fancy smart lights in my house, and some of them have motion sensors. So like when I walk into my office, the lamp turns on. I don't have to do anything. But this area, the Legislative Archives, seems to have those that make a giant noise every time you walk in, which I think is just terrible design, right? Like it's just the worst.
Yeah. So it's how you know they're working.
They're also like weird 3D globe puzzles that come apart too. They're like I just imagine smacking my head on those a lot.
Yeah.
As I walk in, one of them expanding and knocking me in the noggin.
Just constantly knocking beverages out of my hand. Ah, dang it.
Damn it, life in the Skypath ain't so good.
When I first saw those, I thought they were turrets.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do look nasty. Are they going to be like Tesla coils or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It moves. It moves in a video game, so I have to assume it'll hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
The noise does contribute to like a constant level of tension because you never know if like is that an enemy over there, and then once you get used to it, like they introduce you to like a bunch of dudes that shoot stuff at you at the same time. So now you're just fucked. Like I just kept spinning the camera in a circle trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, well, just you hear that sound coming out of nowhere, you think it's one of these teleporting sticky grenade angels that pops in.
Yep, teleporting sticky grenade angel.
Yeah, it's
the sequel to Tank Girl. So so these are we've had teleporting guys with these kind of neon wings before, these Dan Flavin wings, but these ones shoot a sticky grenade at you, and I actually like the way these are to fight quite a bit as far as the teleporting enemies, because once a grenade is on you, the grenade is on you, but you can iframe through the explosion if you roll at the right time, which makes no sense at all, but is really satisfying to get the timing of. Like
it's very video gamey, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
It's like they designed that in because as it's about to explode, like as it's counting down, it makes a noise, like it gets higher and higher pitched. So like it is letting you know, like, all right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting that timing is very fun.
Yeah.
Once you get back through a couple of these, they kind of preview this enemy. There's this new enemy. You get to this lobby that is your first big combat arena in here, which has this mezzanine stairway above it, with where guys have kind of elevation on you to shoot you, including guys with shields. So they are difficult to attack, and several of these teleporting dudes as well to complicate the mix.
Yeah. So eventually, like if you didn't figure it out on Skypath, here the trick to these warpy boys is the fact that they kind of just will always pop in at a certain place. So you need to make sure to, for me, it was important to know where not to run to not make one pop in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take it very slow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at least at the very least, you have one pop in at a time.
I think this is the area that finally broke my reticence to use items or to not use items. Like I feel like this is the first time, and the area like right between Cinderwoods and Bagor as well, where I was like, okay, I'm just going to use the stupid small ammo pack. I just need it. I know I have 60 of them, but I need one of them, and they're mine.
I can't believe you saved it for that long.
Yeah.
Because I really kind of rode the lightning on those things, mostly because once I got my Lone Guard, which was my big sniper rifle I used for most of the game, that had such low ammo. And if I ever, it would still kind of, even with the thing that gave me a bullet back after I killed a guy, I would still lose it slowly through attrition. So I ended up being actually really low on ammo throughout this whole area, and didn't really get a stockpile again until they start loading you up in the last area, where I got more of the large packs.
My second run through here was a sniper rifle, and I definitely, I think I ended that game with like maybe 2 small ammo packs on me. Like I chewed through those, but on my first run, especially at the time, the automatic shotguns had so much ammo that I felt like I could run through it. But this area was finally the spot where I was like, fuck it, I got to do it. I'm going to use an item.
But like of the different kind of, outer spokes, this is the one that is so long, and the runs between the obelisks are so long, even compared to like the Abyss, which felt like a little bit much. Yeah, I was riding those ammo packs specifically. And eventually, like when you get to the Senate, when your bill is passed forward to the Senate, just like
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm just a bill.
Yeah. No, I did I would start using like patches and stuff. So I never used any of the patches before, but yeah, no, I was like crusty with the nicotine patches by the end of this. There's an inch of exposed skin here. Patch me up, buddy.
I never found the patches very useful, but I would have used them here because I also agree that this is a very long, difficult area. Just kind of generally, like we'll get back to the specific encounters, but this area is a real test. Like, it goes on for a very long time, and there are a lot of, it's kind of interesting the way that it is an extension of the Skypath, which was your first area where you were dealing meaningfully with, a lot of snipers, with the teleporting snipers. But the nice thing about the Skypath is that a lot of the levels were, stairways like built around columns. That outdoor area. So cover was actually not that hard to find. There are a lot of waist-high walls and stuff. Here, once you get to the second half of this, it's lots of long hallways with 2 levels, like an elevated kind of mezzanine level. And snipers, which they're not the teleporting snipers, they're the shield snipers, become a real problem here. And it is just made for them to have a bead on you from a huge distance and just kind of outdistance you, outrange you. And it just is very, very, you deal with that for a long time in this level. Probably a little too long. Like, I like this game a lot. The end game, I think, does pushes some of my goodwill. Not this area I still like. The next area I think is awful. Yeah. There's a couple things I really don't like in this. I think this is good. I just wish it was a little bit shorter. I feel like through this whole area generally, like they expressed their ideas early on and then did not express new ones for a little bit.
Yeah, I got so tired of the combination shield guy sniper dude with like 4 melee dudes around him.
Yep.
Or not melee dude, the like frost rocket guy. Like the combination of those two dudes would be like, oh, I have done this like 8 times so far, so I guess I'm going to have to do it exactly the same over again. And then if I die, I have to do it like 4 times to get back over here to get my bits.
You guys have how much HP?
Yep.
Oh, too much? All right. I guess we're just gonna go, aren't we?
The frustrating thing too is it's like those setups are interesting, but they repeat them too often. The big guys, the frost rocket guys, they end up really enjoying fighting them in groups of 1 or 2, because it is this like real fun race to get to their back. And they would die in 1 bullet if I could snipe them in the back. So it was fun. If I had a line on them, I could take advantage of that. Otherwise, I had to kind of dodge, Saving Private Ryan my way through their fire to get to them to jump to their back. And it was really fun. But the mix-up that they do when they combine them is very difficult and just happens too many times. I agree. I've just been tested too many times on this.
Yeah.
After you get through this first lobby thing, you get up this mezzanine and you speak across a broken bridge to Nero, the weird little bot friend. I'm glad to see that you did not manage to do this quest either, because I also did not. And I just went the wrong way. Like he says, hey, I need you to help me quickly. I don't have very much time. And we get to a fork. And if you go the wrong fork, you do not get to come back later and help him.
No,
it's too late. And I just went the wrong fork to try to get to him.
Yeah,
so I do not actually know what happens if you save this guy.
Yep, all I did was find his corpse.
Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy, tell us.
So
did you save him?
First run? Yeah, I saved him here, and then progressively throughout this level, there's going to be a series of chains that a little boy begs you to break, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, let's break the chains, and that's how you fail his quest. But if you I ended up only breaking 2 out of the 3 of them, but that still fails his quest, and he shows up as dead and outside of the boss door. But my second run, I actually managed to complete it, and he showed up back at Firelink, and he gave me like a cool thing, so I could open a previously closed door in Viridian, and I could get like an epic shot grenade launcher. Like there's cool stuff if you manage to do it. It's very unforgiving though. Like if you don't get him here and you break, I think 2 out of the 3 chains, you're fucked. Like you don't get to progress that quest anymore. So.
Hey, it's weird. It's kind of weird because I only broke 1 chain, but I still had him die, so I don't know what happened. Like I don't know, I don't know exactly what happened to my thing with that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just kind of found his corpse right where I first saw him. So his story, like he was the king of this place. He was the Odin, I believe, of this story in the kind of the Norse equivalency that it's drawing. And he's kind of bemoaning how far Apex Citadel has fallen and how much he has diminished. Like what's the completion of his emotional arc? Like what does he get by getting to the boss door for Malog and then going back to Firelink?
Like 3 lines of dialogue that I don't remember offhand.
well, you probably couldn't hear him.
It's not like it wasn't. I didn't find it overly impactful. Like my favorite NPC in this game is the one whose name I just forgotten, the chick that you find in the very first NPC that you find, like
Brent.
all her dialogue and stuff, it seemed very emotional and interesting. Narrows was just kind of like, okay, so you're like a robot king guy, and okay, sure. Like I didn't quite get what was going on there, and I think a lot of it was by the time I got here, I was so overwhelmed in lore that I kind of stopped just taking any of it in. Right, like you find all those lore items, and I was trying to stay on top of it like a good Souls person and, try to figure out what's going on. And then there were just so many of them. And I realized that I was missing so many that I just gave up and kind of just went through the game.
Yeah. The woman NPC is named Bren.
Thank you.
Yes. Just for
yes, I sadly did not get Nero's story.
Yeah.
King Nero died. And I was kind of in the same place too, as far as being a little bit over, like reading every lore note fastidiously. So agree.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of continue past some stairways, if you don't go towards Nero, to a couple other like similar lobby areas, like different like little mezzanine things are kind of set up with the same biome.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times with staircases, a lot of times teleporters will ambush on staircases. There's quite a few things where somebody will be positioned at your back once you get to the top of the stairwell. So tricky, and here is like before they really start overusing or reusing encounters. I feel like this is still pretty good.
Yeah. And this is where they're continuing the trend of bringing bosses back as regular enemies here. So we get like the flag bearing ones that we'd like we saw outside of the factory on Apexian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole area kind of ended up being a little bit just a little bit chewy for me. Like I didn't notice an awful lot in terms of like distinction between the different areas or encounters.
Yeah, up until we get to the long hallway section.
Yes.
Really. This part felt like it was pretty similar.
Yeah.
Going through that. We also get these smaller guys who are kind of flimsy, but they have rocket launchers.
Yeah.
As well. To avoid, who kind of, and they're again mix-ups.
Yes.
There is a warp here, which takes you over to the cauldrons, which is good to jump into just because they make a checkpoint, as we mentioned before. And this area is kind of low on shrines, or obelisks, rather.
Yeah.
So that's how I found this area for the first time.
Oh, you came over from the...
I came over from the cauldron, so like up until this point, like the Apex Citadel had been kind of city-ish, and then pretty much everything else was like ice level, prison, jungle, whatever. So I come in here and you get the text on the screen that says Legislative Archives, and like lights start popping up out of the ground, and I'm almost like, what the fuck is this game? Where am I, and what is going on? And I spent, and this was before I killed any of the Lord Souls, and I spent a large amount of time trying to, because I thought this was not progression, but I was like, oh, they wouldn't put this here if it wasn't like a bonus thing for me to do. And like I started running up on these enemies and really trying to throw myself at them, and just like got shut down completely. It took me to come back way later with much better gear to get through it.
Have either of you guys watched a speedrun of this yet to see like how those are used in a speedrun? Are people speedrunning this yet meaningfully?
There's like 4 or 5 people. I'm on the Discord for the game, and there's a few people that are there, but I think he is still doing unpatched speedrunning. So there's all kinds of glitches and weird stuff that you can do with unpatched speedrunning. Like I don't know that anybody is still doing an all bosses speedrun right now, because the game just doesn't have a lot of like support. I know somebody ran it at some charity event recently because they were promoting that, but I didn't get a chance to actually watch the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, I would like to hear the rationale, behind like which is the best starting place, because you eventually have to get to the end of all of these.
I think from what I know, that Silver Spear is God. So like it's a straight line to the Silver Spear to get, because that's one of the earliest and most powerful weapons you can get in the game. So everyone goes to Iska first, and then from there, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really interesting structure having those shortcuts between areas, because it's the 3 final areas of the game, and the endings are mandatory, but the beginnings are optional. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen that very often in video games. Like you can skip the beginning of a lot of levels in this game.
Yeah.
Never the end, but the beginning of which. Like you can spend you don't have to go through the Burning Viridian at all.
Right.
You can just skip that entirely. Like it's kind of interesting to take the early parts of the spokes and make them skippable. It's like a warp zone kind of feel to it.
Okay, so take those awesome iconic diagrams of the world structure of Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and then for Immortal Unchained, it's just a picture of Rayman. Yeah, no arms, no legs, all fun.
After you get through a few more of these kind of mezzanine things and this combat hallway, which you move through, again overgrown, like plants are growing here, where they're doing that thing where rocket launchers and snipers have this line of sight on you. You eventually actually get to an obelisk, one that has an armor shrine as well, which is really phenomenal, and it's going to be a while before you get to the next one as well.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through pretty much the entire next zone, the Outlook Promenade.
This before we leave this obelisk, I believe this is the chest that you get the Odin's Crusher in, the epic auto shotgun that Patty from Twin Humanities referred to as the Master Key, because it unlocks so much of the game for him. And this gun is like one of my favorite guns in the game, if not my favorite. Like that first run after getting this and leveling it up, I felt unstoppable, which felt really, really good.
Is it Odin? I think it's called the Senate Crusher, because that's the one I ended up using. If it's the epic auto shotgun you get in this area, it's called Council Crusher.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
I wish
that
it was
one, and then there's
Councilman
like
Crusher.
Odin's Hammer or something.
Oh.
There's another Odin one. Or,
There's
not
another
Odin,
one too.
Orin.
Okay.
Orin's
Yeah,
Crusher or something. Maybe I have that wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got Council Crusher here, which is very good. But
Yeah.
I could be right. I thought it was right here, but I don't quite remember.
Yeah, I can't recall. I ran out of shotgun, so I'm sure I got it.
Oh, you must rescue the hunter side quest and acquire the hunter's key to open the door, which neither of you guys did. So you guys didn't save Orin, so you didn't get the key to get Orin's gun. So sorry about that. Yeah, that's so you got double fucked.
Well, you know.
But it's funny that my constellation was called the Council Crusher.
I think you get the Council Crusher. That's the shielded auto shotgun that you get for beating Malog.
Yeah. That was very good. That's the one I was thinking of with this, and that's very good. That would end up being my end game auto shotgun. But perhaps
I just love the idea of these guns that have shields on them, like they were like motorcycle windshields.
I think that has some kind of basis in history.
Oh.
I think I remember seeing like a World War II gun that had something like that attached to it. I could be wrong about that. Some absolute nerd will let us know. Some total war nerd, weapon gun nut nerd will definitely let us know. The Outlook Promenade, this door leads out into this kind of new area, which is balconies, walkways, this rainy area.
Yeah, you're
It's
outside. You're outside, and there are hexagons on the floor. It's neat.
Yep, the hexagons look great. And there are these statues of the Prime that kind of go through, and also bust of Primes.
Yeah, so they're busts, but I think they're of Andros. They're like low poly in a really cool, aesthetically pleasing way. Into it.
Yep.
I will say that after being kind of trapped indoors for so long, that coming out to here and like back into the main Apex level where it's like raining and lightning is flashing, and we get, I think there's a roar that happens here too, although I might be a little too early for it. Like it felt kind of, I was welcoming this space essentially because I had felt kind of claustrophobic before this.
Yeah. Agreed.
I like it too.
It is a nice change up from the hallways, because we've been pretty hallway dense up to this point. Apex or whatever it is, Apexion looks great. it's a very aesthetically pleasing planet. Yeah.
Agreed.
I also like that we get away from the teleporting enemies for a while. I think this is literally the only level in this episode that does not have them.
Yeah. We're coming back to them in a big bad way.
Yep.
Instead of that, we get these kind of round shield, like these large mega Carls with round shields that kind of rush you, as an approach on these narrow bridges. So you don't have a lot of room to dodge around them. You kind of have to deal them.
Yeah.
And enemies are still, we don't have teleporters, but we still do have enemies warping in.
Yeah.
So enemies will warp in behind you. Again, those kind of big EDF dealies.
As a function of being outside, though, you do get enemies who drop in those drop pods, those ODST pods. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
As you're kind of making your way through this outdoor area, we're running into more of those kind of memorials and lore bits, and they talk about this whole area being this in this area they talk about this controversial induction of the Cathal into the legislature. We'll learn about him later.
He's super important. Well, importantly, Cathal, Aris has told us, Cathal, he's the guy who made all these beasts that you're going to get. You got to get them hearts back.
Yep. And in a line that sounds straight out of the fucking Star Wars extended universe, he was the only Deagonite deemed worthy of standing with the Prime.
I copied that pretty much directly from the text too.
No, I know. I like this game a lot. I even like the lore of it. But boy, in black and white, it sounds dumb as hell sometimes.
Yeah,
it's good, but it's like, oh man, there's Deagonites in this. I know there are going to be Deagonites.
That's all you had to say.
When it comes to Deagonites, make room for Megonites. Make room for me tonight.
But, I mean, like to get some context, like of the different races, they've only been alluded to a little bit before, but the Daganites are like these really unpredictable warrior kind of folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what we're dealing with. The Prime, we have seen how exclusive they are and how highfalutin, and I guess this whole game is a parable about what happens when you break homogeneity. So
kind of slobs versus snobs.
Yeah.
Kind of those Prime on the rich side of the lake. The rich Prime camp.
It's basically just a retelling of Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
I mean, if you really think about it, with all of the
Netflix series, not the
Ant-Man character, Paul Rudd character.
So, but yeah, this is a nice little breather. I think this outdoor area. Before we get back into the Senate, though, we find this obelisk in an alley, and we see kind of a reprise of the Monarch enemy, the one that we fought kind of in the lake bed back in Viridian. Except this time, the launcher on his back fires these frost missiles that kind of create a little slow field around them, and you think, that was fun. I'm happy that I fought one of those before you go into the Senate, and whoopsie.
Oops, all Frost Monarch.
Yep.
I actually like these guys again if there's only one of them.
Yes.
Like when there's not, and the first mix-ups with them are fun, but we do fight a lot of them. And this is us moving into the seat of the Senate, which is the area where I think that this is definitely too long.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even just in terms of space, like even if you got rid of all the enemies of this and just ran through it, it would take too long.
Yes.
Like it is just too big.
It has a little bit of the sewer level problem, right? Where you kind of, it's two different. So each hallway has two different levels on it, and you're going to have to run down one and then back up on the other
to get the
either
treasures.
top or bottom. Yeah.
Well, and it's nonsensical that it's this big because we know the Prime are human sized.
Yeah.
They have couches. We've seen their couches.
Yeah, and I don't see where a legislative body could actually work here.
Yeah.
I
would have liked to have seen some UN style hallways or offices and things like that. But really, it's just big hallways.
Yes.
It's like the halls of the Senate aren't literal. There's room to go off those halls.
The halls and curved stairs. That's all that exists in this territory.
Yeah, but no rooms, like no place to sit, nowhere to stand. It's a weird purgatorial area.
Yeah.
Maybe that plays into the lore because the Prime were kind of insufferable assholes throughout all of this. Maybe they literally did not allow people to have offices and just like, okay, you guys have to stand around and look at us while we do our Prime thing.
You've heard of a standing desk? That sounds like a bummer, right? Try this, the desk. It's just.
I mean, that those are a thing, right?
Desks?
No. Walking desks.
No. I mean, I said I know. I don't know that it's a thing.
Oh yeah,
that's a bummer.
No. It's like there's there are desks that have that have treadmills at them. So yes, you do walk at them.
Oh, look, a treadmill is, and you can put a treadmill up to a desk. I get that. I was thinking of a desk you have to walk around with because you're in a hall because you stay still.
No, I think that's a clipboard, Gary.
Or like in Revenge of the Nerds at the end, they have little laptops.
Ooh,
they wear on little suspenders. Yeah, one of those things.
Yeah.
But these are full desktops.
Yes.
And you drag the PC behind you like you're dragging a drip feed in the hospital.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have splurged for that 1080. Fucker weighs 5 pounds.
This thing's connected to your catheter.
Oh no.
Anywho, this area is a real nightmare.
Yeah.
And I don't like it that much.
Yeah,
lasts forever.
So part of why those why those cold ones end up being a problem is like this isn't a game where you want to run by things and it's kind of discouraged that the entire time. Like to a certain extent, they just kind of become an environmental hazard that keeps you off of the first floor. Like I would just run past them until, like run between them to get to the staircases and get above them, because once you're above them, they can't really do much to you.
Yeah. But above them are those, again, like the sniper shield guys with a couple melee dudes or a teleporting guy.
Yeah.
Up there. So they eventually see through that trick. And there's always that feeling, like you said, about at sewer level, like I always feel like I'm giving up treasure by just choosing one level. So weirdly unacceptable to me. Like I have to, I have to do it. I have to clear it out.
Yeah. We've talked about the shield snipers before. These ones feel especially deadly to me. Like,
well, they cover each other more. Like these ones are set up where a lot of times one will be at a 90-degree angle right in front of you, but another one will be at a 45-degree angle, to cover that first one.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back through here a second time and knowing a little bit more about the game, I was carrying a secondary sniper rifle that had its special move was the ghost shot. Not associated with Ghost Dog, just Ghost Shot.
Okay.
That was extremely helpful to me. Like being able to shoot through their shields and damage these guys was kind of a make it or break it run. Even if I wasn't doing as much damage as I would have with the Silver Spear, being able to damage and kill those dudes from range was such a huge help. I just like I'd hardly ever used the special attacks on any of my weapons up to that point, and that was very satisfying.
Nice. Yeah,
I mean, the alternative, what I ended up doing as well, is also taking them at range, because they're all set up that if you rush them, teleporting, sticky grenade guys will pop in. Like,
teleporting shotgun guys, like
shotgun guys.
Yeah, they give up the pretense here. They will just appear and kill you. There's no sportsman-like conduct with these dudes.
Yeah, and they're going to get worse. Like, that's actually one of my least favorite things for the next level is teleporting shotgun guys.
Yeah.
But these guys, like, they're all set up not to rush them. So it's like a little bit of frustrating kind of gotchaism. Like the idea, if you look at one of these sniper guys, it feels like, okay, the strategy here is to rush them and dodge their sniper fire on the way in and close the distance. But they just kind of throw in this little, like, that'd be too easy. So here's here's an ambush if you try that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think the effect was supposed to be like, search your mind and react really fast. And when you get up there, like, take everybody out. But it's not Bloodborne. Like, I don't have that kind of mobility. So what I landed on was I'm going to stand here, aim my sniper rifle at this dude's head, wait for his shield to go down, and then shoot him once he's recharging his shield. And it just made this area extremely slow as well. Like, it really killed the pace because I played it safe. And it like feels like it's a little bit too much. Like, I wouldn't have felt like I needed to play it so safe if the obelisk placement wasn't so far apart.
Yeah.
But that combination of like extremely hostile, dense encounters and a huge, a big penalty for experimentation here. Like, I didn't sit with me super well. Like, I wanted him to pick 2, as opposed to picking 3. Like, give me the snipers, give me the ambushes on rushing the snipers, give me the lack of obelisk, but don't give me all 3.
Yeah.
Give me 2 of those and I'll be happy,
Yeah.
it's like they're trying to design it not to be solved is what it felt like. Yeah.
And the way I solved it was like pretty bland.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just like slow sniper battles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I had a launcher, and that stat set is pretty much mutually exclusive with snipers. So instead, I became kind of a mortar guy. To where I would just kind of try and figure out the trajectory and aim way above them, hoping to get the grenade to kind of land next to them and hope that the splash damage would get around their shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did that work well, or?
Oh, I mean, I got through it. It was better. Yeah. So the other kind of launcher that you can get is a rocket launcher, but it is not like a Quake 3 rocket launcher. It actually has this strangely spiral trajectory on it. And so you can be aiming right at somebody, but it will spiral around them roughly at the same kind of phase almost. So like if they are a certain distance away from you, the bullet just is not going to hit them because it will swerve around them. Yeah.
Like some Fester's Quest stuff.
Kinda, yeah. Fester's Quest is a good way to conceptualize it. Yeah.
Yeah, with the shotgun, this area was absolute hell. Like my entire play style was like get up close, shoot them in the back, and kill everything really fast, and that just did not work for this area. There was this one particular section where you have to kind of go up some stairs, and then you make a 90-degree turn to the left, and there's just like it just feels like there's 80 dudes there blocking your progress. Mm-hmm. I finally just literally ran past it and just did not stop running until their leash broke. And I was able to get past that one section, which got me to the next obelisk. And I was like, I'll go back there later when I'm super powered, and just did not fucking bother with it. Yeah. With the sniper rifle, like I said, like it was pretty easy to just pick them off from a distance and wail it and knock them out. But that whole playthrough to me felt a little bit slower and more methodical than the shotgun build that I had. So that the slowness there didn't bother me, but also 100% knew what I was getting into. Like going through a second time was so much easier than the first time, as it always is when these games.
Yeah. The other exploit that I found was separating away the shotgun angels was easier if you just hung out in the staircase. Nobody else would approach you, but the shotgun angels would bamf right at the doorway, either at the top or the bottom, and then you could just take them out and then make the rest of the enemies easier. Without them kind of like constantly getting on you. But it doesn't feel good. It feels like you're, playing with the box instead of the toy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like I'd probably have a different experience if I went through it the second time, but that only has so much value, Yeah. Like Absolutely. The goal would be to communicate and make the experience good the first time, like kind of communicate to the player. It's not a death knell or anything like that, but it's the weird the end of this game where like there are things that I definitely even specifically like about the end of it, and I like all three of even this one, which is like way too easy in conception. I like all of the kind of Lord Soul bosses, but this is like the second half of the game is where the levels kind of like let me down a little bit, and it's just through attrition, like just by doing too long and too much. Yeah. And this definitely did it. And on the second run through, like I watched a replay of this to kind of refresh my memory, and the whole playthrough is 5 hours. Like there's a way to do this in a reasonable time. I just didn't know it, So,
yep.
As you're kind of moving through, you're seeing a little bit of environmental storytelling. You're seeing skeletons on the ground. Yep. We eventually start running into this boy, who shows up. It's just a little shirtless, like Mowgli or whatever the guy who
Mowgli,
who eventually started the delivery business that eventually turned into Tailspin.
Okay.
And then isn't it weird that like Tailspin is a Jungle Book knockoff?
I have no fucking idea. I don't know. What you're talking about.
I guess when you say that, yeah, that's so fucking weird. I never really thought about that when I was a kid. I was just like, oh yeah, these chipmunks are funny. Or I could be actually maybe not thinking of Chip and Dale Rescue. Hold on.
Well, Chippendale. So Chippendale starting a detective agency doesn't bother me, but the idea of all the guys from the Jungle Book being like, we now live in a world without land, I think, where we all live in tree houses and we do UPS.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the weirdest things. And I was also thinking about how the theme song for that show, like all those theme songs are like impeccable and super catchy. And then like the Tailspin theme song is just like it's just like somebody hitting random on a keyboard for the whole thing. It doesn't, it's just like a weird outlier.
Yeah.
Even more of an outlier than Gummy Bears.
Huh. Yeah, I guess so. I know Tailspin for sure, but I just never connected that they were Jungle Book characters. But yeah, I guess Baloo's there.
Yeah, and Shere Khan is there. So it's a Casablanca knockoff in the sky based on Jungle Book and UPS. Like it's really fucking weird. Yeah. I don't like it. So Mowgli shows up here though. This is also in the Tailspin extended universe apparently.
Right? Yeah.
And he starts fooling you. He starts tricking you. And I'm not saying this is a weird brag, but I feel like there's a lore note right before him that says, what's the Malog? It's like Malog clouds the minds of his victims and sends them illusions.
Yeah.
And then there's a boy that's an NPC that we've never seen before who's just shirtless hanging out in Skeletonville. And I was like, oh, this is an illusion. Don't do what the boy says.
Do not trust the boy.
Yeah, do not trust the boy. I look down at my hand. It says, do the opposite of what the boy says. And it's kind of obvious, like me being like, oh, I didn't fall for your trick is kind of obviated by how easy the boss is regardless.
Yeah.
But like if they'd given the boss some teeth, this would have actually been something, but you would have to like you have to be a little bit trickier than this, man. Like, we haven't run into any shirtless humans yet. Right. You know, they're conspicuous as hell.
Yeah. If you remember back about 10, 15 hours ago, when we talked to Nero on Skypath, he also mentioned, like, don't break the chains when the boy tells you to, or something like that.
Like, it literally goes out of its way to, like, you know, hey, don't do this.
Yeah. Well, I just went and did it because, I don't know, fuck all these people, I suppose.
Yeah, fuck chains.
Yeah. You know, I was just living into the spirit of the title of the game. And so we can talk about the trade-off on this, right? So the idea is that if you cut these chains, it should make the boss harder. However, you are also getting good items on the other sides of these chains, like bit cisterns and stuff like that, that I guess nominally should kind of like make you stronger in exchange for facing a tougher boss later.
Yes, that's the idea behind it.
That's the idea behind it. Additionally, if you cut those chains, then Naro dies. But I don't know. Fuck him, I guess.
I
broke the chains only because I wanted the patches moment. Like, that's what I kind of assumed was they were building up to.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I figured that there would be something interesting that would happen if you broke all of the chains, and then just got nervous two-thirds of the way through. Was like, well, maybe I don't want to do this after all. But I was kind of thinking, like, you know, what if Patches shows up in the Cathedral of the Deep rafters with, you know, wearing an Unbro's armor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that there would be something like that, and the actual mechanical benefit is so. I mean, it's interesting. I really like the idea that doing stuff in a level will affect the difficulty of a boss. I think that's really interesting and fun. I just like it. The boss is so easy. Like, even the extra super hard version of Malak and the echo of him is not that hard either. So
right.
It's exceedingly easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's this weird disagreement where if they had just juiced up that boss a little bit, this would be a meaningful trade.
Yeah.
As is, like, the way it worked was this guy, you know, took me like 2 seconds to kill, and then I also screwed myself out of the treasure. You know, so it was just into this weird kind of way where I felt a little bit punished for being smart. You know, from it, I could go back and get it, and it was just I was getting to the end game, so I didn't. But yeah, it's just a weird choice. Like, I think it would have been very cool if it would have been a little bit better executed.
I mean, from a flavor standpoint, a boy who's doing persuasive speech on you was kind of cool. You know, like the prose, like most of the other prose in the game, is super evocative. You know, the kid saying, "Oh, the prime hid truths the way vermin store up grain." Like, okay, yeah, I like that. That's good English. That's like, fuck yeah, give it to me.
There was also a moment when I saw the kid, and I pretty much assumed that it was going to be either. You know, I assumed it would be like a projection of some sort, but you know, they had talked about ripping out the heart of Cathal, ripping out his heart and making these monsters, but they'd also talked about some kids and things like that. So I was like, well, maybe something like truly heinous has happened here, and this kid is Malag, and Malag is like psychically projected me his real shit and not his beast form or whatever, and begging me to do something. Like, what if I'm about to kill the good guy, right? Like, are we the bads? The kind of situation.
Yeah.
And I think you eventually get a little bit of that, but it doesn't actually play out with this kid at all. So
no.
Not with the kid. Like, that's a reasonable interpretation. And spoiler, like, we are the bads.
Yes.
Like, we are doing a bad thing with this.
Yeah.
It's also whenever like a game when you're doing the bad thing and you, you know, I'm not one of those people who thinks that it's meaningless because you had no choice to do so. Like, as a big Spec Ops fan, like, I think it's okay to be forced into being bad. The way that this one does it is kind of weird with how the lore sits in the game.
Yeah. Because
the lore in this game, like, so that twist feels like it's kind of predicated on understanding these nouns, but the lore in this game is very explicitly optional.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's meaning to me it's bad. Like, I kind of like it. Like, I think it's actually good, but it's very easy to go through the game and ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get this like big cutscene, and it's hard to tell the broad strokes of really what's happening with that and feel like it's a meaningful betrayal when it happens. Which is good. We have a whole boss. It should say something about how much of a non-entity Malag is, that like we've just kind of accidentally drifted forward like 6 paragraphs to talk about the second Anne Orlando moment. So I guess more on that in a moment. We can just kind of scoot through the end of this.
Yeah, but just it is an underwhelming thing that is recontextualized a couple of times to where like, yes, we are the bads, but also we're bads against worse bads, and maybe killing Malog, even though he is presenting his real self here, it's a mercy killing anyway. So, yeah, because the damage is already done. Yes.
So after you start running into boys, and there's gonna be a total of 3 boys, but they're sprinkled amongst just an absolute fucking death push at the end of this. Just like this really, really, really tough encounter where the floor is full of those big guys. You can't take care of that. And then there's a path in the upper thing where there are snipers upon snipers covering each other.
Yes.
So including one that is behind some rubble that has a 45-degree angle on you if you try to get an angle on the main snipers that are then covering each other. And then if you run up, of course, there's a teleporting shotgun guy that pops in. It is exceedingly rough. And I died here a bunch of times, and it was quite a run from the obelisk. This was a source of 2, put it down for the knights.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And then I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, so because this area is made up of 90-degree angled dog legs, you think, okay, I'm going to turn this corner and the horizon's going to be there. No, not really. So after I got I this was 2 put it down for the knights. 1 was after I kind of got through the 3 snipers area by the skin of my teeth, and then I turned the corner and there was another sniper and more and more frosty boys, more cold ones. And I was like, oh yeah. So I not only need to get past these guys alive, I need to get past these guys alive enough to survive a couple of more encounters and at least one more up and down on the stairs. It just kept on unfolding with more and more with nary an obelisk to be found until you get to the boss door.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well,
my experience.
What was your experience on this final hallway push, Jeremy?
I mean, it's very similar. It was just very, very grueling. Yeah. And at this point, I had the god tier weapon. I was trying to upgrade it as much as possible. On both my runs, I had the god tier weapon. I was trying to upgrade it as much as possible. Yeah. But it only seemed to help at the slightest. And getting through to this last obelisk was such a huge thing. It felt so good to get here. And I never ever wanted to go back and do it again until, of course, I played through for a second time.
Right.
I was kind of poking around at their new cursed mode, and I don't think it's going to be something that I ever do. But one of the first decisions that you make is do you want to take damage every time you fluff a reload, or do you want to take damage if you're standing still? And I was just thinking about either one of those. But between in this area, and I'm like, fuck both of those. I don't know. I don't want to do this. This sounds terrible.
Would you rather air be fire or water be fire?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Nope. Oh, but when I got to the door, when I got to the safe, the safe hall at the end of this, I won't lie, I did a fist pump. I was like, yes. I would just say I threw my controller down onto the table. I was like, finally. Just it felt good to be past it, but I don't know that speaks to an overall quality of the experience.
It's I could have gotten that feeling with just a little less.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to scale back that much. It just it really does come down to that point we made at the beginning of this, which is it reuses tricks too often.
Yeah.
That part where you talked about where you turned the corner and just saw another setup of the same situation you just proven that you've passed is really telling of just kind of challenge me with new stuff and do that over and over, and that's good. Please. That's cool. That's why I play video games. But when I've proven I can do it, it's I've proven I can do it. And because of the iterative loop of Souls-like games, I'm going to die and I'm going to prove I can do it again and again and again and again and again. And it's at that point, there are diminishing returns. You're really just kind of repeating to get small efficiencies and slightly better luck to take less damage as you're repeating the same, very similar encounters kind of over and over.
Yeah.
So just have the same thing but less.
Yeah.
You know, that sniper thing that we're talking about, where like the floor is frost lava, and the upper level is those 3 snipers and stuff. That should be the climax of this area. Like, that's very tough. It deals with all the pieces in the playpen that this whole area has done. That should totally be the last thing, and the boss should be right around the corner. But you have quite a bit more. Like, there's another encounter just like that. There's more just kind of like frosty guys and stuff, and I don't really get it. I don't really understand the idea behind it.
I was gonna say that I feel like the last 3 levels of this game, this area and the 2 areas past it, are both suffer from like being 20% too long. Yeah. Like I could just use less in the end game. Like, and I feel like that's something that, I don't know if it's a game developer thing or what, where they're like, oh no, we want it to be a certain length, and we want people to feel, that they got a lot of game out of this. And I'm like, I want to feel like I accomplished something without like smashing my head into a mirror. So always go for brevity over anything in my book. I found that with this could be just old man Jeremy yelling at a cloud, but also just like playing other games lately. I'm like, why am I doing this for like 8 hours? Like, please just let me get to the next level.
I mean, it's an ethos that is literally the joke. The food's terrible, but the portions are amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I mentioned it that I can't remember the name. There's like a Kotaku reviewer who did a review, and he was talking about he does these video reviews. They're very snarky, and I can imagine people hating them. And I don't love them, but I like one aspect of it. He talked about this thing, I mentioned it before on shows, where he like this concept of the I get it button, where like, if you're playing a game, if you're like creating a game and you get to a point where you're fighting a boss, or you're doing a puzzle segment, or you're doing a level, and you have that feeling where it's like, I know what to do, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There should just, that's the I get it button, and you could press that and skip it. And the goal of a good video game is to never have that button. Like, you never want to just feel like, oh, I know what to do, I just don't want to do it.
Right.
It happens a lot with like Mario style bosses, where it's like, 5 times, do this puzzle to hit him in the weak spot and do this thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, after 2 of those, or maybe 3 of them, I just totally get it. And I just don't need to go through the motions again.
It's like video game captcha, right? Like, just pick out the floating puzzle, and then if you can solve this one floating puzzle, we'll never make you do another floating puzzle ever in this video game. Like, let me show that you can kill 1 frost missile guy and 2 sniper dudes, and then we'll just not let you have to do that anymore. Like, it's fine.
Like, when somebody presses the I get it button, it should be like when somebody on the assembly line at Toyota presses the safety problem button. The whole line shuts down. We need to fix this now.
Yep. And the end of this has a lot of I get, but man, video game captcha is a really damning thing. Like, a very damning phrase that I'm going to definitely pull into my vocabulary now. Like, that is cold. Cold Greer.
Straight ice.
Let's talk about this guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this boss. Let's talk about Malog.
Let's do it, because you walk into the High Court, which they have kind of retrofitted to be a prison, and we see Malog. For me, he was held chained up, but instead, he was pretty out and wild in the open when I walked in. Mm-hmm. So that changes the entrance. If you don't break the chains, how does this articulate?
He's chained up for a little while.
For the first half. Yeah, for like the first half of the fight. He's yelling at you, and he can shoot his like energy wave attack.
Okay.
But that's it. So he just sits there, and you just shoot him, and he slowly breaks all 3 of the chains, and then he can get up and turn into like kind of diet flame lurker.
Yeah. Huh. No, he was Diet Flame Lurker the entire time for me. So, like, I kind of got the idea that, like, yeah, he's supposed to be aggressive and feral and, whatever. But, like, most of the bosses in this game took me at least, like, 2 or 3 tries, Like, just you go in, you learn what move will kill you first, and then you go in, you avoid that to see the other moves, and then one of those gets you, and then now you know all the moves, and you can take them out. Right? That's usually the way that it goes for me. I aced Malog, like even in his, I suppose, hardest form in the non-echo version, he was just kind of simple enough for me to like move around. And I think that might just be a mismatch, in making a Flame Lurker style enemy in a game where you have ranged combat.
Yeah. Also, didn't they put the weak point on his chest, which is where you'd like naturally aim at?
Yep.
That's what I was going to say too, is that I was using my sniper rifle at close range and he just ran up and it's like he set the barrel of the sniper rifle against his weak point and said, come on, I dare you. I want you to shoot me. It's like he did that. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I took off like 60% of his health or something with my very powerful sniper rifle in his weak point at point blank range. Yeah. And it's like, what is this? Weird choice, guys. Like I understand because the nature of his aggression means that you can't really get behind him.
Right.
So they couldn't put the weak point behind him, but maybe he doesn't have a weak point, or maybe make it his head or something you have to aim at.
Right.
Don't make it center mass on the front of him.
Yeah. Don't make it the thing that your auto lock will point to.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Do the Shadow of the Colossus thing and just hide the weak point like in the palm of his hand and like give him an attack that exposes that, right? Like just do something. But as it was, like I could not believe like when I started shooting the guy and was like, oh, his weak, really? I couldn't really. Yeah. This seems kind of strange. Yeah. But yeah, I like the fight. Like I think it's way too easy. And it's behind. It's very strange to me that it's behind like the worst part of the, not the worst part, but like that one of the hardest parts of the game up to this point. But actually, I like the design of the dude. I like the music that plays. I like the stuff that's around it. I just like, and I can't believe that we're here on Bonfireside Chat asking for a boss to be more difficult, but here we are. Like I need it to be a little bit more.
Yeah. It felt like it was over before it started.
Exactly. Yeah. Like with Iska, especially with the phases, and even Arlen. Like Arlen was probably the boss I had the most problems with. I felt like there was a series of things that I was learning to do in order to counter all of the boss's moveset or their attacks. And with this, I was like, oh, I just like held down the button and shot him with like 8 shotgun shells, and now he's dead. So especially coming after Arlen, I felt like it would like because Arlen's it's one of my favorite bosses ever now. Like I really, really like that boss fight. And to have this dude just be like kind of monster dude who rushes you was kind of a letdown. Even though I like it overall, like it was just like I wanted more weird stuff like Arlen and Iska.
Yeah. It's just like these bosses are at their best when they show you when they show you new ideas and you have to adapt to them, and just to not like to have things be over so quickly or so easily that doesn't really happen. It's a little unsatisfying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The challenge version of this guy is a pretty good step in the right direction.
Yes.
Which you fight later. Like he's not that much harder, but the arena is a little trickier. And he's a little bit more aggro. He does more damage. Like that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
I can see what they're doing. Like just let's have a melee boss, like in this gun game. Like it's something we haven't really done yet.
Yeah.
A lot of the enemies have melee attacks, but they haven't been primarily melee, like meaningfully. Like Iska, does use melee, quote unquote, but they have such range that's like, not that different from. It's like a long range attack still.
Yeah.
Like have somebody who has to get it up close and do a lot of damage to you. So I get what they were thinking of, but it is kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
Can I derail this for just a second?
Yes, you can.
Because after you kill Malog, like you get access to his echo. Like it's that Remnant World portal that's in the big throne looking room right before his boss area, and that was like the point of the game. Like it had already impressed me that you could warp between all of these worlds and everything. But coming out of there, killing Echo of Malog, and then realizing that you're like right behind the obelisk that you used to rest at before the guy that you beat in Viridian, like the first major boss in Viridian, and like they're just literally right next to each other, and you can see them. Like I just it, like kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like this is so neat that you could warp to these other parts of the map that are otherwise inaccessible and fight like these cool bosses. So I wanted to bring that up just because I thought that was like super interesting and neat.
Yeah, I generally ran a little bit cold on the Remnant World kind of stuff. It just didn't end up really being for me, but noticing the ways that those wedges of the stage fit into the existing stage was the neat thing that I liked about them.
Yeah.
I dug them. I didn't do all of them, but I like them quite a bit.
Yeah.
After you beat main Malog, you get a little cutscene of us tearing out his heart.
Right.
And now we have the 3 hearts, so let's head on back to our extremely trustworthy advisor.
Yep. Somebody who is definitely not steering us wrong. Our good buddy Aris back in the back by the monolith, right?
Why is Aris wearing a shirt that says "not a snitch" right now? I've never really understood that. It's weird.
My shirt about not being a snitch raises a lot of questions that are answered by my shirt.
Yeah, so we've gone and done Aris's job for him. He's able to open up his rift into the stream, right? And then he cackles and says, "Oh, it's been so good to manipulate you. Guess what? I just made you kill your kids because you're not some unnamed prisoner. You're Cathal."
Those were your kids.
Surprise!
And it's like, whoa. Yep.
They seem pretty miserable. Kids. So,
yeah, they're mercy because Arlen wasn't going to be happy.
No,
like he's vomiting bugs a lot.
Yeah,
like there's no way that guy didn't want to be put out of his misery.
Right.
But you do mercy kill him, and then so he does this. He kind of snidely says, it's great to finally use my real voice, and all of this stuff. And then he turns into what should be the last boss of the game. Like, Did you guys, we talked about how these last areas, like, spoiler, we have 2 more areas after this.
Yeah.
Did you guys, I also think this felt like an ending, and this is a really good boss, and just made sense to end. And the fact that the game kept going after this was a real significant bummer to me. Like, this felt climactic to me.
Yeah,
in a serious way.
This is part of the way that approaching these games for a show will diminish it for me, which is I knew that there was more after it, so I didn't invest too much in the climacticness of this in my head. I can totally see what you're saying though, like killing the person who gives you your mission and then going on to fight Zeromus. Like, one of those is obviously the stronger foot to end on, even if I do appreciate the stuff that they do at the very, very end.
I feel like they could have combined those 2 things. Like, the cool trick they do at the end is not mutually exclusive with this being the last boss.
Yeah.
Like, just have this guy rip off a mask and be the last boss or something like that. Or have, after you beat this guy, have the last boss show up immediately.
Yeah.
Ornstein and Smough it or something. But putting those 2 padding levels after this just really rubs me the wrong way.
So I'm on record as thinking that both of the last areas are a little too long. I like the idea that you kill this guy and then you're literally jumping into like the stream of creation. Like that as a concept is extremely cool. And I think the ultimately the last level, like just from a visual standpoint alone, is kind of worth it because it's so different from anything else that we've got in the game previously. But again, like you that quickly wears out when you have to do it for like 45 minutes in your first run, it seems like, and it's kind of unending almost. I wouldn't want this to be the end of the game. Like I still want that last level. I think you could probably lose the level after it, which I'm sure none of us are going to like very much. But like I feel like if you just jumped into the stream and you wound up in the whatever the last area is, I forget what it's called, the 10th realm.
Yeah,
I think that would probably be like if you killed this dude and like you jumped into the stream, you showed up there, and there were like 10 more guys, and then you got this cool ending. I think that would be perfect. But as it was,
that'd be good.
I didn't know that there was anything after this. Like, so I was like, holy shit, and then every moment from there kind of ramped up until about 2/3 of the next area, where I was like, okay, all right, like I got to go to lunch. Like there cannot be another 3 levels of this. Like I need to go.
Yeah, but
I can't stop because I haven't been at Obelisk in a while. So yeah, that's. I see what you're saying, Gary, but I want that last boss fight, but I don't want to just go through the shit to get to it, I guess.
What about the last area not having anyone in it? Like half as long, but it's just this creepy walk where the guy like monologues to you the whole time about his thing, which he kind of does. But yeah, like skip the feature of the Fractured Void, which I think we can all agree is garbo.
Yeah.
And then go to just that final visually interesting area and just have it be a moment of quiet.
Yeah.
And these games don't really do that. We've talked about that a lot. Like Souls games they kind of got bad at doing that at some point. Like early Dark Souls games and Demon Souls would have quiet moments like this, and then they kind of went away. in the later Souls games and in any of the games that came after. That would have been good too. Mm-hmm. It just felt like it had to be, we had to throw in a little bit more challenge. Like we had teleporting shotgun guys that knock you down. Got to throw those guys in mass. Yeah. They got to be there. Like that just is a bummer.
Yeah, it's a super bummer because like there is an exceedingly small part of the 10th realm that is that. Like when you're climbing up a long stairway and it's, basically whenever the final boss is talking to you or monologuing to you and you're not doing stuff, like that is where that area shines. Kind of literally because it is visually amusing. This is going to sound more damning than I intended to, but like the Fractured Void specifically, but even parts of the 10th realm, it's kind of like if you go to a concert for a band that had like, let's say 4 hits. Okay. I don't have an example off the top, but like they play their entire set, and during that entire set they played all 4 of their hits, right? Like, okay, encore, they used all their stuff. What's the encore going to be? And the encore is just an extended medley of those same 4 hits again, except it's the reggae remix of them.
Yeah, give us some reggae.
I was just about to say this is the Axl Rose version of the encore.
That's why I said reggae. Just any intolerable genre to do something in, but just like that. Like again, that sounds more damning than I wanted to. But it's like, why am I sitting through this concert? I just want to see the end. I guess I don't know. I really like it when bands bow. So I can't finish until they finish.
Before we get to that, we do fight Aris.
Yes.
Our betrayal master, who is like a wizard fight. He has the shield bubble over him that I think is very clever.
Yes.
Like the shield bubble you can walk through but can't shoot through. So it keeps you close to him to damage him. Like you have to actually walk through the shield before you can hit him. And his attacks are made to kind of push you off. Mm-hmm. He does a sweep, which you dodge through, obviously, but he also does these other like kind of sparks that fly out, and you want to not be close to him because you want to have them travel a little bit of a distance to dodge through them, but you have to be close to him to hurt him. And that tension, and he teleports around, so you are constantly you're getting within his shield, getting in a couple shots. He's teleporting away and doing these attacks that kind of push you away. Mm-hmm. It has a really great tension to it. I think this is definitely better designed than the last boss fight in the game. This is one of the better ones as far as design, I think.
Yeah, this is pretty rich with ideas. Both of you guys leaned on snipers quite a bit. How did this fight work with you and your choice? It seemed like that, like the choice to put the bubble around him would make snipers completely useless against him. But like, how does that work for you?
He's so resistant to, because I was using the Silver Spear, which I think is either fire energy. I can't forget which one, but he's so resistant to any kind of elemental damage that like I was switching to 2nd tier weapons to be able to do the most damage from him. And this is one of the few boss fights that I found myself actually having to switch through multiple weapons, like because he's so relentless that you don't really have time to do a reload, so it's just quicker to switch to a secondary weapon and then keep coming after him than it is to try to eat an ammo pack or anything.
Yeah. Gary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty similar. I mean, my sniper rifle he was not resistant to, but I just used it at melee. But he's generally pretty tough, so it took many shots, and I could not reload. So I also had to kind of lean on my secondary weapons, not all of which were fully upgraded or epic tier. So this ended up being a little bit of a fight of endurance, but it was fun because I got that Artorias feeling of like, oh, I can dodge everything this guy does. Mm-hmm. I can do it all. So it doesn't matter that's going to last a while because I am, it's requiring perfection for a long time, which is something I don't usually like. It's not quite perfection though, because he doesn't hit so hard. He doesn't, he's not so aggressive, and there is time to heal if you go in. Because what's cool about this, I don't think we explicitly mentioned this, is you do this fight in Firelink.
Yes.
Like you're doing this in the grand hall. So like there's tons of places to run and go hide and heal. So if he starts doing a distance attack, duck behind a corner, heal, do what you need to do, and then come back out.
The problem
in this very familiar area too.
The problem with that for me is that all of his distance attacks would go through the doorways and stuff for me.
Yeah, like the beam sweep will clip right through anything. Like that was my frustration, is I couldn't. That's why I said I couldn't get away to do ammo or anything, because like if I did that, it seemed like that would almost trigger his beam sweep thing, and that would get me every time. And that did a lot of damage to me.
Yeah, or he would teleport to the other side of some of the doors and beam sweep me, and I would die without being able to see him do the attack or start it. Like I would have dodged that if I could have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like it is cool that they put it in the Grand Hall, in the core. I just wish the geometry worked in a way that didn't feel like it would set it up for that kind of unfortunate death, right?
The sweep, yeah, he definitely went through, but I think it blocked some of his distant stuff. I remember being able to like at least duck before, or it would mess with his AI and set him to start a teleporting animation.
Yeah,
which gave me time, but I ended up using the geography to my advantage quite a bit in this.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Yeah. Like, I mean, it took me several tries, and I felt like I got it when I got him. But yeah, just like that was the one bummer about it was the geometry problem for me. Ours is neat from like a motivational point of view, and we would, it's worth mentioning before we get into the stream, because I imagine we're gonna kind of rail about it until we get to the final boss. But like, he is also a slave to this prophecy, just like everybody else has been. Malog was chained up because it was prophesied that he would lead to the fall of the Prime. Specifically, Naro was terrified of him. We saw the same thing with Orin and Arlen. And just in general, the Prime lived in utter fear of this prophecy that was carrying out, and everything they did to work against it just made the prophecy carry out further. And I think that setting that up before we get to the way this ends and how the prophecy is dispatched is worth doing, because I generally hate when prophecy is invoked in a game. Yeah. So I just wanted to get that out about Aris's motivation, because he has been manipulating you, because Cathal was supposed to be just the person who would drive the final dagger into the heart of everything the Prime held dear. And so that's why that's why he is delighted in kind of moving you around the board. Yep, and we'll see how that works out for him. Yeah, well, right now the trail goes round and around. And Immortal Unchanged. Yep.
Just like most of the level design in the Fractured Void, around and around.
Let's please get through this super quickly. I don't think we need to talk about this that much. It is a whole bunch of small or medium-sized combat gauntlets connected by portals, where there are tougher versions of many of the enemies we've already fought. And there are ambushes aplenty, even in a way that feels like it's cheating, where they're right as soon as you come through a portal. So you'll come through a portal and there will just be dudes standing there taking, like I think the first or second portal, there's a sniper rifle aiming at you when you come through, which is kind of a troll. Like, I get that that's kind of a joke. I hated every section of this, and I'm like, it's ugly and it's really boring looking. And I was like, oh, I've entered Chalice Dungeons. No. This game has decided to end with a bunch of randomized levels that I can just play forever now, and that's how it ends, right? Like, I beat it. Now I'm in New Game Plus, and I'm in Chalice Dungeons.
You mentioned it is very randomized. When I interviewed the game design guy, Johannes, he mentioned that one of his first ideas for this area was to make all these portals randomized, and had to make you like try to fight your way through each one randomly. And I was like, no, please don't ever do that to anything, please, Johannes, no.
Yeah. You seem extremely cool. Yeah, don't do it. You seem cool.
I thought this area looked neat to begin with, but again, by the time you hit like the third obelisk, there's usually at least I think it's anywhere from 3 to 4 like combat encounters in between obelisk. So you can go, like, when I was trying to get my last achievement, like because there's lore items in here too, and it's like on the 9th level of the Fractured Void, and I'm like, where the fuck I don't understand 9th level. What is that? There's just too much of it. I mean, there's just too damn much of it. And I like some of the cool visual effects, like your chest all of a sudden, and when you pick stuff up, start like dissolving into these cubes and like flying out at an angle. And I like the fact that you can even see like weird shit in the distance. Like this is obviously like a giant level that they've kind of built around, even though you're portaling in between it. It just went on for far too long for me. When I got to the end of this, I made a joke of it earlier, but like I was literally late for lunch, but I didn't want to quit because it was so fucking. It had taken me so fucking long to get to the end that I didn't want to put the game down. Like I had to get to the end. And I was glad that I did, but then I instantly turned it off. I was like, I'm gonna finish this game tomorrow. So.
Yeah. The madness stops here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also have a very specific bone to pick with the teleporting sniper guys, which one hit will knock you down. So like I've talked about knockdown in this game and in general, and I just feel like it is not an okay decision to make it so you can take damage when you're down.
Yeah.
And if you can't take damage when you're down, it's just an annoying time tax. If you can take damage when you're down, it's just a damage tax. Mm-hmm. Like, just make the attack do more damage if I'm just going to get hit again automatically and not have a way to get out of it. There's not a way that, like, spamming roll or anything gets you up faster in this game, unlike it can in Souls games. So, like, it's just very frustrating to get knocked down. It is not, like, an interesting effect and probably shouldn't happen.
Right.
The way that this game uses it, or maybe just how games use it in general. Like, it's not very interesting.
Yeah, just like don't like temporarily in the middle of a hectic situation seize from me my ability to move my guy. Like, don't take control away from me, please.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that control.
There's one section at the end, or close to the end, where you're like rounding a left-hand curve to get to this obelisk, and it's like it's right there. You've seen it since you've gotten into the portal. Like you know it's right there, and then they spawn two of those motherfuckers right in front of you, and it's the most. And they start teleporting around you, and if one of them hits you, it feels like not to make another Shadow of the Colossus reference, but it feels like in Shadow of the Colossus when one of the small Colossuses hits you, and you literally cannot get up in time before they hit you again. That's how it feels, and it just feels bad. Like. That I think dying there was maybe my worst death out of the entire game.
Yeah. The teleporting snipers are way too much. The one of these combat arenas that I thought was good and had like a satisfying kind of like premise to it was that one that kind of spiraled around and had snipers at vantage points and also had cover in. So you were almost like running this weird little circuit around and taking the snipers up as you walked all the way to the top and then spiraled back out down to the bottom to get to the like that was the cool one of these. Like if it was that and maybe two others, this probably would have passed, but as it stood, it was too much for me.
I don't even really understand what this area, like that geography as a wireframe could have been mapped onto almost any level.
Yes.
And accomplish the same purpose. I don't even really understand what this area accomplishes from a story standpoint.
So I like the concept.
It's like a vestibule to get to another area.
I like the concept of it as, there is a tear open, it is a fracture in the void, between the ninth realm and the stream. And all of this stuff is here and all of these people are here because in order to create the new world, the old one has to be destroyed. It has to suck matter through. And that's why you're seeing little bits and bobs of geography and architecture and these regular enemies is because like these chunks are being pulled out and you are going through this void into the 10th realm, which is kind of like the wireframe of this new universe that is being put together by Nailon. So like
I just feel like you could just go to the new universe though. You don't have to spend time in the hallway.
Oh, for sure.
Have this be the vestibule. Like you go through a little bit of this like chunks of level thing and then immediately go, just to see that it exists.
Yeah.
And then immediately go to the 10th realm. It's very transitional. It's weird. It's like the kind of thing I feel like games usually do in a cutscene.
Yeah.
Like you get to see somebody going through a portal.
It feels like a Adult Swim prank where like, what if we could make a star wipe last 20 minutes? And like you're like, okay, cool, I guess. Like but towards the end of it, you're like, all right, go ahead and finish up, guys.
Once we get through this, we get to that 10th realm, which we talked about, which is cool.
Yes.
It is this like geometric, like lots of right angles. It is red. There's this gigantic sun at the far end. These motes of lights are coming and things are dissolving and reforming as we walk towards it.
Yep.
And this calm voice says like, you're here, come witness this act of creation.
Yeah.
Extremely cool.
He is so calm and so British. I thought that I had like fired up Getting Over with Bennett Foddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Stanley
Why is Stephen Merchant talking to me about this game?
Yeah.
And then it becomes the weird, like the end of Super Mario World where they show you a parade of all the different enemies you fought.
Yeah.
During the credits. It becomes that, but for this game where every enemy you fought so far gets a little tiny little highlight section.
Yeah.
This little encore presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Weird choice.
It's pretty tough. The run between the obelisks is pretty long, and it is complicated by the presence of, for me, it was complicated by the presence of the teleporting shotgun folks, who would, just kind of take me down in a couple of hits, and led to me inching forward through this stage that, it was nice to spend time in. Like, this is visually one of my favorite ideas in the game, possibly in Souls-likes. Like, I am enamored with the way this looks. A design decision that I wanted to call out as being amazing. So if you were ever lost about which way to go, and you can't exactly see where the sun is because of the geometry, you just have to look for the motes of light in which direction they're going. Everything is being sucked in the direction of the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that is definitely neat.
Yeah.
I think it is like kind of hard to get lost in general. Like it's kind of a hallway.
Yeah.
But I think that would be cool in a world with like a little bit of more of a maze. Like if it wasn't just a hallway, I think that would be really neat if you were kind of forced to rely on that.
This might just be
forced to notice it.
A failing of my directional abilities, because I definitely got turned around in this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. This just felt like a hallway to me, like for almost the whole deal. So that could definitely be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to gang up on you, Cole, but I also like it felt pretty much like, oh yeah, I'm walking forward and I'm going to take a slight right and then a slight left. So like I didn't really get turned around. If anything, though, I mean that's kind of a failing on the level, because it does look exactly the same throughout.
Yeah,
I think that initial presentation when you finally get out of these clouded ass forbidden void or whatever, and you get this huge bright sun and these colors that you haven't really seen in the game before. That's such a striking moment. But by the time you get to that second obelisk, you're like, all right, come on, speed it up, let's go, let's get it done.
Yeah.
But I like this area quite a bit. Like I don't mind going through. I felt like it didn't feel like going through Undead Burg again at soul level 100. Like it doesn't feel like a victory lap, but I feel like I definitely knew how to kill all of these things, and like it wasn't really set up to be entirely difficult for me to do so. Like the encounter design here wasn't, I didn't think, over the top hard. So yeah. I kind of just cruised through this, and for whatever reason I didn't have a problem with the end boss either. So I never had to. I know we're going to talk about the run up and things like that, but I never really had that much of a problem with it. So I like this area a lot.
The run up thing we're talking about, because there's not a whole lot to the specific encounters here that we haven't seen before, is that in a game without really boss runs, this level gives you one. There is an obelisk, and it's a good like 5 minutes of play from the end boss, which did bug me. Like I did not have that hard of a time with the end boss. In like if the obelisk was right there, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
No.
It's just the fact that the run up was added to the boss that made it feel like too much to me. And I think I'm like a combination of things with the boss was, one is that I was definitely rushing a little bit, not because of deadline. Like I beat this game weeks, like a month ago, more than a month ago, but because I wanted to be done with it. Like I still was enjoying it, but I was like, I just need to see the end. Like these last two areas have sucked balls, and I would like to get to the ending of the game now. Right. I did not expect this postscript area. And then the other part of it is I think I was like pretty poorly spec'd for it. Actually, when I watched like online, watch people fight the end boss to refresh my memory, they're using launchers and killing him in like 6 hits, and it lasts 2 seconds. And the boss fight for me was actually pretty long. I had what I thought was a good sniper rifle that was fully upgraded, but it still wasn't doing quite enough damage to him to make it quick. It was still fairly slow. And as we'll talk about, like when you get to the boss, one of the things he does is make a lot of real estate super dangerous, which makes it hard to make space to heal.
Yeah. So I beat the final boss on one try, so the length of the run didn't actually bother me, particularly because it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot that stands between you and the last monolith and the boss door. Like, it's maybe...
There's about 5 minutes of sniper stuff. Like, I did it a bunch of times. There's like a long ramp with several snipers, like in little side alcoves.
Yeah.
And then at the top, there's a sniper rifle, and there are teleporting shotgun dudes kind of sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, that area. I remember the obelisk being like super close to the final door. It might have. Okay, so it's possible that they patched an obelisk in between when you played and when I played. No,
I checked it because I didn't check it, but like I went through on like the most recent patch, and it's I think if you, because the enemies are. This could just be like, you know, it's definitely farther than any boss run in the game. Number one.
Okay.
And like if you get those two, there's several of the teleporting guys that spawn out, and you can easily get into a situation where if you're not going through and drawing them out, like the sniper guys, the teleporting guys will knock you down, and the sniper guy will hit you on the floor.
Yeah.
And there's probably like 4 of the sniper dudes and like a couple of teleporting guys sprinkled throughout of all of that stuff. So. Regardless of anything, like I didn't have a huge hard problem with it, and I'm not trying to like shame Gary for doing that. But it's the most egregious boss run in the game, and going through it a second time, I was like, oh yeah, this does feel way longer. And why am I having to do it? Like every other time, every other boss in the game, you just plopped. You control the obelisk. Like you can just tell me that there's a lore reason for it right there. I don't care. Yeah. Like, you know, but just, you know, send me right by Nalen's butt. Like, I mean, that's fine. Just put me right by the butt. I don't mind.
Yeah.
So I, as a design decision, like I don't know what they were trying to teach me with it, other than like you have to spend a few minutes getting to the end boss, and like we want it to be a little harder. But yeah, it is the longest boss run in the game, and it's kind of a weird thing to do when I feel like that was a lesson that they took from the previous games, that they were that you know, you shouldn't have to have those long runs. Like you should just be right there at the boss so that you can iterate on it. So
it felt like a design decision they had made.
Yeah, they demonstrated an understanding of that pretty much the entire time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you get to the boss, all the fluff stuff, like when you talk to him, all the things where he's, you know, the annoying scrabble of rotting hands has fallen silent. Those unwelcome visitors are cleaning a matter that I needed to create my stage. And you run up to him, and he's standing just kind of considering creation in this grand red vista and stuff. It's super cool. And, you know, he talks to you and he's like, come witness, you know, and it's really great. And then he turns into like, what is he?
He's an Indigo Prophecy.
He turns into a Bakugan or something. Yeah, he's an Indigo Prophecy Bakugan.
He's an Indigo Prophecies are really funny.
Yeah, like, he turns into an Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah.
And then the boss fight is not super interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not as well designed as RS. It's like, as far as stuff in the second half of the game, I'd put this about on par with Malog. Like it is worse than Iska, it's worse than Arlen, it's worse than RS. Like it's just not, it feels anticlimactic from a gameplay standpoint, even if it did take me a couple of tries. Like it wasn't because it was like super interesting or felt like it had new tricks. You know, he's a real letdown, I felt, as a dude, and this Nalen guy.
It's not presented as like this is supposed to be a stomp, so it's not even like true King Allant style. You know? Yeah, like he's a god of this realm. He should not be this easy to take down as he is. Could be a spec thing too. Again, like you mentioned, launchers being the way to get past him. I definitely walked in loaded for bear with the key to this encounter, so I might not be the best person to comment on it.
With automatic shotguns, it played out exactly the same way that most boss fights did. Of like I was sliding around waiting for an opening to get behind their back, and then shooting them in the back until my gun ran out of bullets, and then trying to reload and not get hit. I found a lot of his like ranged attacks, like the spikes that would come up, and the big AoE bomb and all that stuff. Like those were, I felt like they were like making me mix it up and like making me really pick and choose when I was going to heal or reload or anything like that. And didn't have a big difficult problem with him. I think I died like maybe once to him. But the second time came through and just went right through him. going through on a sniper rifle build was interesting because I didn't have enough time to like charge up the precision shot thing that does the most damage, so it took me a little bit longer than I expected to. And definitely the longer you're in that boss fight, like the more likely you are to get hit with those AoEs, and like the more shit that seems to start covering the floor and the light beams and all that stuff like could damage you. And it felt like much more of an endurance test. So
yeah,
I don't like he has a big Indigo prophecy.
Yeah. But I don't know what he has, this collection of just shapes and stuff, like a virtual on mech. The AoE bombs he does will one-shot you, which is annoying. I don't like one-shots in boss fights. He also, we didn't really talk about this, he makes a double. He makes a second version. It splits into two. So it is a lot of area control stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. It's at least very kind. Like when he is charging up that bomb, it shows you exactly where on the ground it's going to hit. So that is kind. I'm happy they did that. If they were going to do an instant death, at least make it super, super clear where you do not want to be. Yeah. This arena is great too. I mean, like you're fighting directly under the sun, and kind of pursuant to the Norse angle of this, or the Yggdrasil angle, you've got these trees with no roots just kind of hanging in the sky that look a little bit like airborne tumbleweeds, or kind of almost like nerves or neurons kind of hanging there. Additionally, like it's kind of a subtle transition, but like we are out of the fully polygonal, fully like bismuth or city kind of idea. Like it's become more organic. Like you can kind of see him filling in the details of the game world as he is making it from his seed of creation right up here. So like, again, from a theming point of view and from just like a visual point of view, this is top of the pops.
Yeah. It's cool. It looks really, really cool. If he looked cooler.
Yes.
As a entity, I think he does not look cool.
Right.
But other than that, it is definitely a cool set piece.
Even if you just fought him in his regular form as like a scrawny colossus.
Sure, scrawny colossus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of what he looks like.
I did one of those to
PD
Autumn
Rasputin.
last night.
Oh jeez.
What guys? It's a neck massage. Get your heads out of the gutter.
Yeah, no.
Peter Raspuni,
there
scrawny colossus.
The scrawny colossus. There it is.
So when you beat him, we get the ending. Let's talk about this ending.
So we should talk about who Nalon is. It's kind of surprising that he's here because it's been presumed that he's dead the entire time. Like he was the favored son of Nero, who was killed by Cathal, right? Super important because that leads right up to the ending. He has kind of gone into this world and become a god and started making a new one, because this is puppet masters on puppet masters on puppet masters. As he's dying, he kind of says like, hey, couldn't you see that I was trying to make a better world? And, prompted to speak, your character, your Cretan that you created morphs into Cathal.
Who also looks like a Cretan, just FYI.
Yeah.
Like you turn to a demon Cretan. And you speak for the first time in the game, which is cool. Like being a silent protagonist, then all of a sudden speaking is a really kind of neat moment. Mm-hmm. And you lay out the twist, like you lay out the plot. Yep. I've been locked in the cell this whole time. It made me realize that we're all trapped by this prophecy, this kind of cycle of creation and destruction, which feels a little bit like meta commentary on Souls stuff to me. And then this weird kind of thing. He's like, oh, by the way, I actually hit you with this poison blade that made you crazy enough to put together this plan to create the 10th realm.
It poisoned your soul with this obsession.
That felt like a patched in piece of dialogue to me.
I mean, it also feels very Norse mythology, like any of those ancient mythologies.
Sure.
Like, I hit you with this poison that made you do exactly what I wanted you to do instead of just killing you.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's weirdly placed in the paragraph.
Oh yeah.
For the thing, and it's right before the cool twist that they do to the next one.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Jeremy?
I was just going to say that we call that in the business plot poison. That's what you get. That's what you need for that.
Yep.
You got plot poisoned. It made you do the plot.
Yeah. So Tathal says, like, okay, so while you've been doing this, I have my own epiphany. I needed you to create this distraction so I could enact my own version of the prophecy, destroying this universe in a way that neither Aris nor the oracles could foresee. Everybody is a slave to this prophecy. But he got around it, and I might as well just read this dialogue. You see, the oracles can only predict actions of beings from this universe. They cannot foretell the actions of a being from another. Therefore, I allowed myself to be controlled by such a being for this purpose. You were all just cogs in my plot. And you're thinking, are my ears burning right now? Because it sounds like he's talking about me. He then turns and faces the camera and finishes his thought. Oh, you were all just cogs in my plot, including you, whoever, whatever you are. And like them, you are no longer of any use. He is talking to the player. And he opens his hand and squeezes it into a fist. The screen goes black and you hear a noise that is like a monitor turning off.
Mm-hmm.
So to get around the prophecy, he turned himself into a video game character, allowed himself to be controlled so it would be unpredictable, and all of us were playing in so he could create this new world with no gods and no masters.
Mm-hmm. Do you think as the new god of creation and as a person that like created this video game for us to win him the universe, do you think he has any control over Steam sales? Or do you think that's like the marketing department? Or what do you think?
I think he hired a guy. He hired a guy.
he would want he'd want this game to go on sale as often as possible to have more people from the other realm to control. It is within his best interest to get more people to play this game. He's controlling us and making us podcast about it to get people to buy it.
I know, right? This is great. I love this so goddamn much.
I like it a lot. I feel like I had this distinct feeling during this twist when I realized what was going on, that if it had happened like 10 years ago, I would have like died. Like I would have gotten knocked on my ass and been like, whoa, you know. I feel like I've seen it. Like, I feel like the, talk to the player at the end, like, you've been complicit in the thing, is just something I've seen a little bit too often. This articulation is a little different. Like, the idea of, getting around a prophecy with it, which I think is cool. But I just felt a little bit like, this is something that's always welcome. I'm always happy to see it. It didn't feel quite as fresh as maybe I wanted it to, I guess.
Initially, I kind of bucked against it because this kind of meta thing, even though I've expressed a predilection for it, it can often be a shortcut to trying to seem more profound than it is. See also BioShock Infinite, because we are poisoned and broken by that game, right? You know, it achieves a certain amount of like, ooh, this must be smart and important because it's meta. However, even though I have seen this before, and even though it is totally like a thing, doing it in the context of a Souls-like, where especially, Souls games being set in a fantasy style realm that, is dictated by prophecies, right? You'll venture forth from the asylum and ring the bells. That's interesting, and it doesn't fall into the, the sin of prophecy pit because the prophecy is a hoax there, right? However, I love what Toadman is doing with this by making a comment that prophecies are bullshit and are completely incompatible with video games. So we're going to make a game where everybody is bound by prophecy except for you as the player who are going to subvert it at every turn. I think
it's
that is
opposite of BioShock 1,
kind of,
in a way.
Yeah.
It's would you do what you want?
Yeah.
Instead of would you kindly, it's do what you want with my body, which is what he says to the player.
Yeah.
I think that is neat. I guess I just mean specifically the fourth wall breaking.
Oh yeah, when he turns and looks at you.
Turning to the camera, turning off the monitor is a cool trick, but that part just feels very specific. And also, I felt a little bit like there was a disconnect. So comparing it to Spec Ops, which even just saying this super indie, I love Spec Ops. I think it's a really important, cool game. And even comparing this kind of middle budget indie game to that, is cool, right? It speaks well of it. Is that game was more coherent throughout the whole thing with that theme?
Yeah. Yeah.
like, the thing that you said where you're like, they're doing this commentary on how in a video game prophecy is meaningless and you're in this game where everyone is controlled by prophecy. I didn't feel that during the course of the game very much. And I think it has a little bit to do with how earlier I was feeling how this game feels a little lore optional when you're in it. Like how most of your game is, most of the time you're fighting, the story and gameplay integration is very separate. Like you're literally just picking up unrelated notes that tell you the story.
Yeah.
Which then go into a menu you can read. Like it is not integrated very well. So like other versions of games where they comment on the player's actions in that way, the player's actions had more to do with the theme than this one did.
Yeah.
Here, like there's a little bit disconnected. It feels like a really neat trick that they kind of pull at the very end of the game and was only really meaningful for the very end of the game. And I didn't want a straight ending. I didn't want like, now that you've defeated it, the prophecy is subverted, back to my home where I'm going to sleep on my many, prime couches. I didn't want it to turn into Interpol song about how many couches he has. I just think that so I'm glad they did a subversion. I just felt like it wasn't quite like thematically cohesive enough.
Yeah. I wish that there was more integration. I definitely wish there was more integration. Yeah. If that was the thing that they had intended kind of the entire time. It's kind of something where if they lay too much track to it, it takes the oomph out of it when it finally hits. Like, the notion that everybody is trying to buck the prophecy and is suffering terrible consequences. Like, I could totally foresee the same thing happening to my character because he is Cathol, right? Like, if that was the thing they were trying to say. Well, that's what they were saying the entire time is nobody could escape it, and everything they did to escape it just made it happen anyway. Like, that was the story that they laid track for and then subverted it at the end. Yeah.
I guess it's more about, it's not so much that they didn't lay track for it. It's just the fact that the story itself is not very integrated into the game. And I don't think that's a problem either. I don't want more cutscenes. I don't want more mandatory lore. I didn't want more dialogue. It just ended up being like maybe a theme that is hard to rest on the shoulders of a Souls-like a game and a genre where you're going to be spending most of your time engaging with the systems.
Yeah.
And it's not that theme in general is hard to do that because obviously like Bloodborne exists, Dark Souls 1 exists. Like they are capable of the genre is capable of supporting it. This specific theme and the specific way they decided to handle storytelling in this didn't quite support as well as I wanted it to. So instead I kind of came away thinking like, oh, that's really neat. I didn't come away like, whoa. And I definitely didn't come away having like my heart or mind touched by it. I didn't come away from this feeling like there was a truth that I took away, which is another difference between this and say Bloodborne or Dark Souls, where I'm like, oh, this has thematic resonance with real life.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that at all.
Maybe I felt like especially exalted at this because I hate prophecy in media. So like, yeah, fuck that. Anything that can get up under it and turn it over is a good thing. But yeah, but that's not necessarily a truth about anything.
Yeah, it still comments on, it's like a meta media thing. And I do think there's a little bit of that to this with it being, when they talk about cycles, like making a game that's explicitly Dark Souls inspired and talking about cycles does feel very intentional.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jeremy? Sorry if we've been dominating the convo.
No, it's okay. I wanted to let you guys get your opinions out so that I could dominate you with mine. No, I'm kidding. just joking. I'm a sucker for fourth wall breaking, especially as a surprise like this. So when Cathal turns towards the camera and starts talking to the player, like the moments leading up to that, I was kind of losing my mind about it. I was like, "Holy shit, this is so cool! This is so interesting. I'm kind of here for it." I've never been one to be able to like put together disparate piles of text into one overriding lore theory. So I had not picked up on hardly anything story wise than the game, other than what the game pretty much directly told you. So at this point I was like, yeah, okay, so I'm Cathal, like y'all made me kill my kids. I'm going to get revenge on like everything and try to bring it down. And when the three women pop up with the three prophecy chicks pop up and the Apex Citadel, I was like, I don't, like telling me your prophecy is like telling me the dream you had last night. I'm just going to immediately not pay attention to you. Yeah. Like I don't care. So by the time all of this stuff happened, I didn't have like any kind of theme or unifying lore theory or anything like that. He just turned to the camera and like snapped his fingers, and I was like, holy shit, that is so cool. I really enjoy it as an ending to this game because it's so easy to get into one of those things of like, I think you can very clearly see in a time where the game ends and you wake up in chains again. Like, oh, it was all a trick. We fooled you, Cathal. Like you've been running the Immortal Unchained treadmill. Like, congratulations, you've earned us another 20 energy units or whatever Black Mirror-esque thing you want to come up with. So I was glad to see like this, which feels like an ending. Like it feels like, okay, this story is done. You don't really like, even if they develop these gameplay mechanics into a different direction, like I don't think you can really follow this up with Immortal Unchained 2, right? Like you kind of can't. Like there's nowhere else to go unless they were like, oh yeah, we were just kidding. We had a whole other universe on this fourth planet over here.
And the 11th realm.
Techno world. Yeah, it's the 11th realm all of a sudden. Yeah. So when I enjoyed it from that perspective of just turning to the camera, shutting everything off, and like that's the game. And I don't know, man, that was so much fun. Like, and I felt like the process of the moment that he starts talking to Naylan or whatever you want to call him. If I say Naylan, I want to call him Naylan Givens, like he's a character on Justified and he wears a cowboy hat, and I can't get that middle picture out of my head. But as you start talking to Naylan and you start shedding like your armor shrine stuff and like your character stops looking like the character that you designed at the beginning of the game, what the fuck is going on? Like that moment of surprise was so fun and so interesting that I'm kind of into it. And then I'll probably talk a little bit about this in the next episode when we're doing wrap up thoughts. But they do some stuff and some optional doors to kind of make you think that this sort of connection was possible from the beginning, and like there were people and figures throughout the history of this game that have been experimenting with this kind of like universe being able to go into another universe and like pull things from our own universe. So it's not completely out of the blue, but you do have to find like 30 Cerium decrees and go scour every single door you haven't opened to find that stuff. So
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that they lace a little bit more track with that part, because the one little part of the ending speech I think is very cool that's a little bit like to me is like, the oracles cannot control or cannot predict somebody from another world, and he kind of says it like it's a known thing, like, oh, they can't do this. But I don't remember hearing reference to that. Like if I was trying to think of a way you could reference that without giving away the twist,
right?
And that would have been cool too, because I might have thought, oh, it's somebody from another world, but maybe not me. And he maybe wouldn't have just said it like a kind of a Bond villain speech at the end. Like everyone knows the oracles can't do that, but they can do this.
It's one of those things that I'm hesitant to even, because it's one of the things about the game that like going through all of those like in game doors, like you can kind of have your mind blown on some shit. It's most stuff that I'm hesitant even to talk about in a spoiler filled episode like this, but I definitely want to talk about it in the wrap up. I guess we could talk about it here too if you guys don't mind being spoiled on it. Like I don't really care where it goes, but there's one particular room that you go in, and not only do you find a second monolith, and the implication that some heretical priests have been making other monoliths to connect to different universes. Oh yeah. There's also a cow, like a fully animated cow, just like chilling, just sitting there like eating some grass. Weird. And then you go into a third room. And you go into a third room, and there's just a fucking brontosaur chilling, like a giant ass dinosaur just sitting there. And you're like, what? And all of this shit in this room is like pulled from different universes, and it's just like apparently there was one figure in the lore who like is a heretical priest and was trying to, or priestess, it was trying to like do some crazy universe shit, and the Prime shut him down. And like you get all of this weird stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But again, like you have to have those 30 Cerium decrees, and you have to scour every single possible door that you haven't opened and gone into to find that stuff. So
yeah, I really enjoy that. Like
cool.
All of a sudden, Immortal Unchained is missed.
Like that's a super cool idea. I wish I had seen that. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I still think that I might have the feeling of like not having the kind of thematic or emotional core to the end, but at the same time, like that just ups the neatness factor of this by like 20, and it still ends up being like a cool ass ending for a video game.
Yeah.
Like I'm always going to want to have something touch my heart, especially if it's breaking the fourth wall and involving me. Like it feels like it's like, oh, like as a player, I'm culpable. If you're going to comment on that, what are you saying about me as a human? Like, what are you saying about real life?
Yeah.
With that, and that's one of those things I do think like BioShock 1 works with, and I think that Spec Ops works with and stuff. But that's just awesome though. That sounds extremely cool to me, and I wish I had found them. And if I ever replay this, I will make a point.
Yeah, it I don't know, maybe my supposition is wrong about this, but like the stuff behind those end game doors almost feels post game to me. Like if you saw all of those and it would seem not to connect to anything, but then it was all wrapped up with that ending epiphany about how dogs can actually play basketball. Then I think that would be the way to do it. I almost wish that was not like so hidden behind so many literal locked doors.
And yeah, that could be just the way that I approached it too, because after I killed Eris, I like, you look at that thing and you're like, oh, that's in game. So like before I even went in there, I was like, okay, well, like I have been a weird enough gamer to make notes on all these doors and chests, so I'm going to go clear all of that before I go into the end game. So like I had found all of those rooms, and there's a zoo somewhere where you can just see like models of all the enemies and everything like that. One of the other ones is like a cute little messages from developers. Like there's a room full of sarcophagi like in the furnace, and each one is like just a message from a developer. And some of them quote Dark Souls, which like somebody quotes Laurentius from Dark Souls 1, which I thought was really cute. Nice. But definitely finding that one particular room with all of the mind-blowing shit, and then having him turn to the camera and go like, I'm done with you, was like, oh, okay. So some people have been doing some weird shit around here. I agree with you, Gary. Like the actual theming and like why that's important doesn't, like, I don't know that they build that case for that at all. But just like as far as like neat, weird, universal traversal shit that they're doing, I'm kind of here for it.
This is something that is kind of a wrap-up thing, but it's worth talking about just while we're on this specific subject, is that like, on one hand, I also feel like it's maybe a little bit unfair of me to want, one of the things I really like about Immortal Unchained, I'll elaborate on this next episode, is that it is a modest product. And it is okay to extend that grace for its modesty to that theming. Mm-hmm. Like, I tend to be like, I'm kind of a demanding media appreciator. Like I always want to think of how something can be better, even if I really enjoy it. And this is something where like, yeah, it is, it's just kind of enough that it's maybe just kind of a badass, cool, B-movie twist without having the thematic resonance that Dark Souls or a Bloodborne has. Like, I don't need to feel like, oh, this is something I'll think about every day for 2 months and apply to real life situations, and like look at some pigeon, choking on a piece of corn and being like, that's Dark Souls to me. Like it doesn't have to be like that. It can have a modest thematic resonance as well. Yeah. If everything else can be modest about it and not really suffer for it, which I want to talk, that's definitely a wrap up thing I want to talk about next episode.
Yeah. Can I just real quickly explain myself, because it feels like I came out of nowhere hot and heavy with like prophecies suck. Can I just give like the 2 sentence the 2 sentence reason why that metatextual twist worked for me, at least my interpretation of it? Yeah, so if you in any media where there is a prophecy about how a hero is going to rise and save the world, etc., and the main character or the character you play as just happens to be the person of prophecy, then that takes away all agency from you. Your success has been foretold, and there is almost no interest really aside from hitting all of the stations of the cross on the hero's journey. So any piece of media that will look at a prophecy and either subvert it by saying the prophecy is a sham, such as Dark Souls 1 does, or kind of leave it vague as to whether or not the prophecy is true and let you decide how far you're going to adhere to it, like Morrowind does, or in this one literally say the prophecy exists, it is there, and you can roll your eyes whenever it pops up, but the cool thing is that you as a player, you have agency, and therefore it doesn't really apply to you. That is a very cool and new way to handle a prophecy in video games that does not take away your agency and instead kind of works with one of the strengths of video games as a medium. The thing about video games as a medium, which is your actions, determine what happens, that is my, that is where I come down on it. So that is why I've got like a hate on for that particular trope.
No disagreement as far as that trope sucking balls. Like I do not like prophecies at all. Mm-hmm. It's interesting I guess like where my hesitance is, and I'm not trying to battle ending Pokemons about this, because it's ultimately us talking about degrees of things we both liked. Mm-hmm. Like is just that, like, so if the thematic resonance from this is that as a video game, like, you do have that agency that subverts the prophecy, that is such a limited truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the would you kindly thing is still true. Like, you are still at one end of a hallway and you have to make your way through the other to complete the game. Like, it still has that Spec Ops, like, you have to play the game. Like, the way to win would be to turn it off. Like, that is the actual real life truth part. This involves like a magic circle kind of buy-in for that, you know, to believe that the player, like, you're buying into the fiction. Like, it works within the fiction. Like, you know, the player did all those things, or the character that the player controlled did all those things. Yes, they mattered in the game fiction, you know, and I agree with that. And I also like prophecy being taken down a peg because prophecy sucks.
Yeah.
And it's lazy.
We're both
extremely lazy.
we're both agreeing. The limits on that truth were sufficient for me to say that, yes, that was a satisfying thought expressed in a way that I appreciated. Yeah. So. Yeah, so I just wanted to get that out before we wrapped up and went on to the next actual wrap up. Yeah,
for sure. Like, and especially if you're just like, yeah, prophecies fucking suck.
Yeah,
like somebody's out there probably being like, I'm a prophecy. You know, I like the prophecy. I like Christopher Walken.
Like those old fashioned bicycles, huh? Yeah,
yeah. Somebody's probably. But yeah, they're and it's also I'm also done as far as video game tropes. I also don't like messiahs.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever play as a messiah again. Like in the Slack, we were talking about Dragon Age Inquisition, and I just like immediately got grossed out by like, Lord and Savior of the world, will you please go collect these 10 herbs? Like,
the only messiah that I'm interested in playing in the near term is being a dark messiah of might or magic.
Yes, or playing as Jesus Christ in Wisdom Tree Classics. Anywho, that's the episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with our finale.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jeremy, for hopping in on this one.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here and to get to chat with you two dudes about some Souls or Souls adjacent properties.
Yeah.
What podcasts do you do that are not on the Duckfeed.tv network, Jeremy?
The podcast closest to most people that would be listening to this is Don't Give Up Skeleton. It's an interview podcast about people's experiences with the Souls games and kind of everything around that. Both of you have been on that show before, so you can go look at episode I think it's 29 and 30 maybe. But I've had a wide range of people on that show, from, you know, relatively famous game media people to famous rappers to just like people that have not ever been on the internet before almost. I don't know when this is coming out, but I've got an episode coming out soon, episode number 169, which we're calling Spice, which is a group of women who are shippers and fanfic writers and artists that are kind of have been hated on by the Souls fandom for just the stuff that they like and liking stuff innocently. So talking about, you know, what they called old men and monster fucking. So please enjoy episode 169 of that.
That's good. I like that as a concept for an episode. Yeah.
For everyone else listening, thanks for patronizing Duckfeed.tv.
Yeah.
Yay!
We'll be back with those Yay, we're back, baby. We'll be back with that. And Sekiro, we know it's coming out.
Yep.
Get ready.
Get ready
for that Sekiro, baby.
Oh, it's going to be here.
We are approaching ready.
Yep.
Yeah. And the only thing you can really do for us is tell your friends and stuff. You're already supporting the network, which means a lot to us. If you want to tell your friends, you can. And that's probably about it.
Until then, Umbasa.
Umbasa.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon. Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
Byrgenwerth is an old place of learning, and the Tomb of the Gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
And I'm Jeremy Greer.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is a hunter's favorite.
Yes, and this week, this is the first episode where we're talking about Chalice Dungeons, the Pthumerian Labyrinth. And as you heard, we are joined by Jeremy Greer, the author and curator of Dark Souls Haters, the Tumblr, where he collects Dark Souls and Bloodborne-related hate messages, and also Not ECEC on YouTube. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Cole. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, this is your second time being back and not on the PvP circuit.
I was trying to count. I think this might be the third, because you did Demons, we've done Dark Souls 2, and then we did, now this is Bloodborne, right? So this is the third.
Yeah, look at that.
I was thinking about that earlier today. I think this is my 5th episode of Bonfireside Chat, which, I don't know.
I think that puts me up there.
Gets me an award of some kind.
Yeah, that is, you are the most frequent guest. We definitely have not had anyone on 5 times before. No. You're definitely the most frequent guest. Oh, look at that. We'll have to rectify that in the future. Your numbers are coming up, Murph. So if people are not familiar, Dark Souls Haters is what it says on the tin. Like, it is a collection of Dark Souls hate mail, but Dark Souls, being a hard game, inspires the worst in people when they are young and want to call people terrible names for beating them at it. And you put all those in one easy readable place.
Absolutely. We're the home of all of the homophobic, sexist, horrible language that you could ever possibly want to read in one place, unless you're going to go to like some other site, I guess. I don't know. The internet's full of that stuff.
Yeah.
But all of ours is specifically related to Souls. I started it a few years back when I was getting a lot of hate mail just for playing a magic character in Dark Souls 1. Like, people were calling me the worst names. So fortunately enough, Bloodborne doesn't seem to have that kind of audience. I don't know if it's a difference of gaming systems. Like, primarily a lot of our stuff came from the Xbox and not the PS3, but I just don't have a lot of Bloodborne hate mail on the site right now. I'm still getting Dark Souls hate mail, so people are still out there hating, just not in Bloodborne.
I was wondering whether, I imagine the blog would change a little bit, because something that I've noticed is that in Bloodborne, PvP in general, like the community, I've said this a couple times on the show, but PvP is kind of de-emphasized. Like, I don't see a lot of the community focusing on PvP, a lot of fight clubs and stuff. I still see people going back to Dark Souls 2 a lot for that stuff online. And that would obviously impact what you do, because PvP is where the majority of your stories come from. Like, you don't get people who come in who are just like sending messages to From calling the archers, the F word.
If From would give me access to their email account, I would definitely post every single one of those messages. And occasionally I do go on the official Facebook page whenever there's a big announcement, like when they announced Dark Souls 3 or the Scholar of the First Sin edition. Like, that was the big one, Scholar of the First Sin, because people kept thinking they were gouging for money or, whatever the phrase was. So I'll go on Facebook and pull comments from that, just where people say horrible things on there. But again...
But why didn't you balance the Great Sword animation?
Exactly. Yeah. Stuff like that is just hilarious to me. So that's what the site is, though. I mean, come by and just don't let your children read it.
Has running that site for about 3 years now, like, taken any kind of toll on you?
Not really. Okay. I'm pretty immune to that kind of... I mean, I grew up on the internet. Like, I was on the internet when I was 10. So, like, the concept of bad language on the internet really doesn't faze me too much. It has been eye-opening in some cases of, I guess, just being on Tumblr and just kind of learning how Tumblr is, about what the things that you can say versus the things you can't. Even when you're quoting people, you'll still get in trouble for it. But a majority of the people that follow the blog and communicate with me on a regular basis have been very, very cool. So
yeah, very cool. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on this episode is because you are very active on our Facebook page, and I knew that you have definitely done your Chalice dive.
I have twice, actually. For this episode, it was my 3rd time through these particular dungeons that we'll talk about today.
Yeah, not everybody does them, because as these episodes will be a little bit weird. We're planning on doing 3 of them to cover all of the chalices, because they are a huge part of the game by chronological real estate. Like, you're going to spend a lot of time here if you're going to do them. But one of the weird things is that they're so optional. Many people will go through the entire game probably without ever touching them. So we're going to kind of talk about the mechanics and in this episode, and kind of explore the beginning depths of Chalice. And that's self-serving, partly because we haven't been through them yet. I know I can speak for Cole to a degree that, like, he and I both don't have tons of Chalice experience. I messed around with them a little bit, but then bounced off, and then I'm just now kind of going back for the show. So I've not completed all of the Chalice dungeons. I've completed most of them on my first character, but died because they get hard.
They are super hard at the end.
Yeah, they get unreasonable. Fairly quick. And then the other thing is that people who know the Chalice Dungeons know that some kind of late game bosses show up, and it felt weird to us to talk about them inside chalices before we talk about them in their actual context.
Right.
So like we don't want to say like, oh, when you fight Solaire, son of the Moon Lord, in the Chalice Dungeon, it is not it's not the same thing as when you talk to him in the Spider's
Gullet. The Spider's
Yeah, Spider's Gullet. Yeah, Spider's Gullet.
Sounds like someone's been reading my Dark Souls fan fiction site.
Well, we're trying to get the word out. You deserve recognition for your work.
Yeah. Anyone who invented the Spider's Gullet deserves more internet fame than you have. So anyway, so we're talking about chalices here.
Yeah. These are optional content, and they're also super mysterious. Like in the announcements leading up to them, nobody really knew what they were. And I think that even until the guide came out, people didn't understand kind of the entire scope of how they worked. I think there were a lot of misconceptions leading into them.
Absolutely. Like if you... one thing you can take from these episodes on the Chalice Dungeons is if you're interested in the Chalice Dungeons and you are on the side of people who are like, oh, the guide isn't a good value, it doesn't have enough stuff, like the guide is really, really valuable for the Chalice Dungeons because there are a lot of weird kind of hidden mechanics in there, like weird curses and special things that can happen that are, kind of enumerated in the guide and that are very, very obtuse in the actual game.
Yeah, and there's also unique loot, unique enemies, unique bosses.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of unique content that just doesn't occur in the main game for better or for worse. I think it's for worse. I wish that some of those items and enemies had been included in the main game, but you take what you can get. So.
Yeah, and knowing where to find that stuff and where to hunt it down and stuff. So essentially the guide chapter in the Chalice Dungeon chapter in the guide is like super useful.
Yeah, and we're going to present some of these basics about this to make it feel a little bit more approachable. I know that I, just like most From Software game mechanics at first blush, had a lot of trouble getting into it because I didn't know the size and scope of what I was getting into. Like, for example, did you know that they are not all randomly generated? Because I didn't when I went into this. I kind of thought that everything was randomly rolled, but totally not the case.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. People were like, oh, it's like Binding of Isaac, but for Bloodborne. And I was just like, oh, yeah. You heard me more. But it's not that. And the ones that are not randomly generated actually do fit into the story, which is something that I didn't know for a while either. Right. Because the ways in which it fits the story and the ways in which it ties into the lore are very obscured. When you were talking about kind of bouncing off of them earlier, I think part of it could be, and I could just be speaking for myself here, but they are like a little tedious.
Yep.
They are absolutely tedious.
Yeah, like this is not so the way that, and we'll do our kind of final wrap up on what we think of Chalice Dungeons at the end, but as kind of a preview, like I'm glad they're there. Mm-hmm. I think that anyone who argued that they're the strongest content in Bloodborne would be insane. Like this is some of the worst. Like the Chalice Dungeons as a whole are probably my least favorite area in the game.
It's one of those weird things that if you would ask me of like, what would what would a Souls game be like if you took away all of the story elements and the kind of atmospheric storytelling, but would it still be a good game? I would have said absolutely, yeah. And it is. It's just kind of boring.
Yeah, it's not. You're just kind of moving as good. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a little bit like a monkey's paw wish because we talk a lot about the mechanics and how satisfying all of it is, but the mechanics laid bare while satisfying, they lack kind of the higher motivation than just in the moment survival.
And part of it is also just variety too. So like you're using those mechanics, you're going to spend a lot of time on any one of these given dungeons where you have kind of one enemy set and a limited set of rooms. And you're just going to spend a lot of time there, like longer than you would spend in, say, like Old Yarnum. Mm-hmm. So like in the main game, even in a very large area, it's difficult to get bored. Here, it seems like it's just easy to get a little bit bored with what you're doing. And I know later it kind of tempers that with Insane Challenge. So it's no longer boring. It just kind of monotonously hard and like monotonously entertaining was what I was about to say. That's an oxymoron. But it feels kind of right. I don't know.
That sounds like something out of A Brave New World.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about how these do fit into the lore.
Yeah. Well, all the terrible stuff that happened to Yharnam, it had to come from somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, and it did not come from without. It came actually from checking out these ruins.
Yeah.
Beneath this large labyrinth, and they're carved. They were carved by this race called the Pthumerians. So I'm going to choose to pronounce that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a superhuman, like godlike race that discovered and served the Great Ones. The Great Ones are something we've been hinting around in the main episodes, but we're going to get real into them pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
But they serve these kind of outer gods.
Yeah, and boy, do they look spooky. They look like a race of very tall, gaunt Scream mask.
Yeah. I was just about to say
exactly.
The Scream mask from Scream or the Scream mask from
Scary Movie 2.
Or Scary Movie 2 or Scary Movie 3. No, I meant the Scream, the painting.
Yeah.
Like they look like they look like both those things, like these elongated, stretched out faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they pop up all over the place. Most of the enemies that you encounter here are going to be, these Pthumerians that are kind of just kept alive by some kind of unholy force or something like hollowing with them. So this is where the holy medium was discovered by the scholars at Byrgenwerth, and Alfred tells us this much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it continues to be prospected by both Byrgenwerth and the Healing Church. Although not quite actively, because most of the people who are still down there went completely out of their minds. In fact, there's a wonderful quote in an item description from one of the sets of armor that you get down here. Truth oft resembles madness, inaccessible to the dull of mind. Those who go mad are merely thoughtful souls who failed to reach any conclusions, which will probably feel familiar to you if you tried to extrapolate where this fits into the main story beyond just the evidence that is laid out there right now.
Yeah, it's a great quote. Like that's a real that's like kind of almost like the Doll Ember of Bloodborne. That's a really kind of encapsulates a lot of the game. I think
the two sets of armor that you get from the chalices we're going to be covering today, the two sets of armor you get from it have some of the best item descriptions out of the entire game in my mind. Like they're both very, very solid item descriptions.
Yeah, the bone ash and the white bone ash, something like that, and the madman's armor.
The madman set, yeah,
pretty cool. So essentially, this is where they went down and they found the stuff that set things into motion. When you talk about how we're going to be fighting Pthumerians a lot, that is true in what we're covering today. But then later, we kind of get the progression of how Pthumeria decayed by exploring later chalices and learn that they ultimately had a fate very similar to what we're seeing in Yharnam.
Yeah.
So right now we're just doing, it's kind of like, it's interesting the way that when you explore the Chalice Dungeons in order, you're kind of seeing the decay of the civilization. From it just kind of being hostile and full of just regular dudes who happen to be hollow and assholes, but they're dudes, to seeing the beast scourge and then ultimately seeing what kind of happens, which is spoilery, and we'll talk about it later.
And a real neat intersection of mechanics and plot. Like the difficulty level of the Chalice Dungeons are assigned by depths. If it's depth 1, depth 2, depth 3. And then it kind of feels like at the same time that they're, depth 3 is deeper. So you're going deeper and deeper and closer to the source and seeing how more ruined it became. It's one of those classic Miyazaki Souls things that really just, I really enjoy.
Yeah. This, like the Pthumerians kind of remind me of the Denis from Myst a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Like I'm getting strong vibes. So that immediately wins at some points for me and an atmosphere that is absolutely not reflected in the minute-to-minute play.
Well, you can also, if you know the correct code, you can turn around in the Pthumerian Labyrinth and just solve it.
Yep.
So it's similar to Myst in that way as well. You just have to know how to put the tumblers in the right order. Like, this is a totally different game. There are tumblers. That's not true. The other thing, so mechanically though, and I guess we'll talk about this later, but it's also interesting because it has that lore thing, and we talked about the mechanics laid bare. This is also a place for a lot of Souls legacy mechanics. Where they kind of are quarantined in Bloodborne. So this is where you're going to find your traps and secrets.
Yeah.
In a way that are not in the main game. And I applaud them for not being in the main game because they wouldn't have fit. Like if Canehurst had a hallway with swinging blades, like what are they doing? Like that doesn't make any sense, but they make sense here.
We had a hard enough time reconciling that with Sens.
Yeah, exactly. And this is more like, this is just meant to be like this lost mad civilization, like they can do whatever they want. They don't make sense to us because they're so close to these greater outer gods that they, they're mad. Like it was a mad civilization to begin with, and has gone madder. Mad civilizations just got madder.
This is the only place you find illusory walls, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird thing to me.
I still have not found one, even though I know they exist down here.
Neither have I.
And I keep looking, but I just know they're there, but I can't find them.
I'm dulling my weapons by attacking the walls.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm using a Tonitrus. I don't have much durability to work with.
Yeah, I was using the Blades of Mercy, and like they also don't have tons of durability. And eventually I switched, but anyway. So the way that we get in here is you get your first chalice from the Bloodstar Beast, and these are that other line of tombstones in the Hunter's Dream, where you perform a ritual at one of them.
Yep.
And you need to use ritual blood. One really cool thing is the ritual blood has ranks similar to the cold blood you find. And if you look at the images for the ritual blood, it's like a pool of blood. And then as it grows up in number, a skull is coming out of it. Yeah. And it looks incredible. Like ritual blood 5 is amazing looking.
It's like they're growing a crystal.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of these things are like that. Like you look at the different chalices too. So if you look at like Lauren and then like the lower Lauren, like it's like a skull and then it's a skull growing out of this thing. Like it's just a worse version of the chalice.
Kind of along with that, I love the items that you need to use to make offerings.
Oh shit!
Either the corpse pieces or
that's
like
all great.
Like actual relics from saints and stuff. Like flowers that only grow or mold off of stuff. Like it definitely makes me feel like a goth kid for like, oh, it's corpse mold. But
it feels good, but like something that is a problem with Chalice Dungeons, I think, is that you do Chalice Dungeons in order to do more Chalice Dungeons.
Yes.
Yep.
Like it takes away the feeling of reward when you get through a really difficult passage and you find a Saint's Wrist at the end, which is just something that you use later to get into a different dungeon.
Yeah.
Like you're all moving towards this climax that we'll eventually talk about, which is very satisfying. Like the thing at the end, at least from from a lore perspective, like, coming to this thing that we find at the end, but it really is like climbing a very long ladder. It doesn't feel like the sense of gamey reward is really there.
Yeah.
In a lot of this stuff. And even down to like the soul rewards. Like if you go into this first one right when you get the chalice, it's actually a pretty good way to get some experience. But if you come to it later at all, you don't get very many blood echoes.
Right.
For these first early areas. So it does feel like you're literally just doing it to do it, which is fine, but no other part in the game feels like that. I think.
Yeah.
If you contrast it with like Hammock Carnal Lane or Charnel Lane, it is an optional area, but you're doing it for this kind of gameplay reward at the end.
Yeah, even the items, some of the items that you get, you'll originally there's something very later on you get this called a haze extractor. Like it's another hunter's tool, and you get really excited, like, oh, I'm going to be able to do. Oh, nope, it's just used to make more chalice ritual.
That's that item is so
excellent.
Weird. Like I'm drowning in fucking haze. It's like that's one of the most common like things you find in the dungeon. Like who needs this extractor? It's so weird.
The only other rewards that you get are upgrade materials, which, depending on when you do this, could be valuable, or, just kind of consumable, just items that'll benefit you. And like what's weird about that is, like, if you're treating this as a way to get upgrade materials, what that is doing is kind of inverting the way that I feel like you should play this, which is, oh, you're going to do the chalices until it feels like it's getting too hard, and then go back to the main game with the benefit that gets you in order to tackle that until you level up, and then you're just trying to like level off of each other with it. Like that's a little bit the flow that it feels like maybe they didn't try to establish, but kind of makes sense given what they laid out and the way that progression works.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So there are 10 preset dungeons that we're talking, and then there are root dungeons, which are the randomly generated dungeons. We will probably talk about those as kind of a footnote in one of the future episodes. We're not talking about them this episode, other than just letting you know what they are.
Yeah.
But those are your Binding of Isaac by way of Bloodborne.
Yes.
Dungeons.
Yeah.
Everything is randomized.
And each of these dungeons, whether they are preset or whether they are root, they are assembled modularly like IKEA furniture. So they're going to use very similar rooms and enemies and just kind of minor variations on those themes.
Yes,
to its detriment.
Oh god,
because that's one of my main problems with the even the first one. Like you get through the first layer of the chalice and you go to the second one, and it's almost exactly the same thing. It's the same rooms, it's the same layouts. It's so boring.
Yeah, and they're big. Mm-hmm. Like these are not short areas. Like each individual layer is really huge, and sometimes like it does give me that feeling of like getting lost, which is kind of fun. Like, oh, this is it has labyrinth in the name. Like, you know, I should be getting lost in it. But that doesn't, like, I don't like that in games that much. Like we were talking about Hemwick again, like, and we were talking about the linearity as being a strength. I think that's true. Like, I don't always want like 1,000 side paths to explore in a game. You know, like I want, and if so, they need to be meaningful. Whereas like a lot of these things, like it feels like it's kind of unthoughtfully like loops back on itself. There are a lot of shortcuts that are not well considered.
Yeah.
You know, and the Chalice Dungeons, to where like it's not very linear, but to no end, other than the fact that it's supposed to be this maze of corridors, which I get, but I just don't think that's for me in a game. You know, that's not my favorite thing.
And with the way each layer is structured, with the exit being so close to the entrance, it feels a little bit like an inconvenience to have to go find the lever to open it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and that's actually a kindness. Like it is a kind of thing. So if you die after you pull the lever, you can just go immediately through the door.
Yeah.
But so the goal in each one is you got to go find the lever, which is kind of guarded by a mini boss at some point that opens the door that's near the beginning, and then there are little side treasure rooms on your way, or treasure paths. Like they're not rooms. Like it could be like a healthy stretch of dungeon, and these are where you're going to find again more chalice rituals or ritual material rather, and then eventually you go to the next layer, and eventually you get to a boss, or eventually you go to a boss and you can get to the next layer until eventually you get to a boss that opens up the next chalice.
Right,
and that boss drops the next set for you.
Yeah,
it's probably important to note too that if you're going to go through all of the Chalice Dungeons, it's actually very important on a layer by layer basis to go through those side paths and collect all of that, optional treasure, because that's where you're going to need those upgrade materials, and it's either that or farm enemies to do it. And farming is not my thing at all. So go, you can even dodge past them and open up the chest, get it, and then die, and then now you have it. But go through that process and go make sure you find those ingredients.
Even in a Chalice Dungeon, exploration beats grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wait, like I was just thinking about, because you bring that up, and like the way that chalice materials or ritual materials are kind of an unsatisfying reward actually bleeds really heavily into the main game, because you're not just going to find these in the game. You're going to find these everywhere in the world. Like you can get to a very difficult to find treasure chest somewhere, and there are two, red jellies in here. What the fuck is this? So it's actually like kind of, if you just want to play the main game and not dip into Chalice Dungeons are an active detriment to the main game. Like if you're not actually going to do the things in here, they actually do kind of negatively impact the game. And like, it's one of the ways that I would tie it into the whole, Bloodborne having less equipment being a downside. Like it being that there's less of that kind of dopamine squirt and less reason to explore in areas where, like, you get a madman's knowledge or a sage's wrist at the end of a difficult passage. So it just adds a little bit more chaff to things if you're not intending to do it. If you are intending to do it, it's cool, but it's like it's a key. It's not, we talk about in Metroidvanias most of the time on Watch Out for Fireballs about Super Metroid does key items really well, because you get something and yes, it opens up a door, but it also has a utility function. So you never feel like it's Doom when you're running around collecting colored keys. Like, I have the grappling hook. That's going to allow me to traverse, but it's also going to allow me to get to more areas. Yeah. And these items are keys that don't have a fun double function at all.
It would be marginally better if the Chalice ritual items were used to as good of effect as they were in Hemwick and other parts of the game. Like, it makes sense to find a fuckload of eyes in Hemwick.
Yeah.
Like just from a story or atmosphere perspective, like that wouldn't completely make up for it. But like if they were going to go this direction, and there are thematic links between, what you find in some places, these areas, like that could have ameliorated it somewhat.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
It just kind of goes into the general kind of like feeling I kind of have on them while still being in favor of them in general, I think. There is a little bit of variety. We kind of bagged on that, but there are 4 different types of dungeon based on 4 different chalices. Mm-hmm. The Thumero, which are the regular, kind of chalices 101. The Hintertomb, which is darker and has a lot of poison enemies in it. And then the other 2, which we'll cover later in the series, and kind of talk about that progression, as you mentioned. I'm just trying to avoid not talking about the last one because, again, it's kind of spoilery, I guess.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Won't be soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get to those by killing bosses in certain areas of the game. So there are 2 optional bosses that you can take down to get into these places, which those guys are cool. So when you're rolling up a root dungeon, you can actually use these additional rights to kind of put a modifier onto these places, always to make them harder.
Yeah, it reminds me of Bastion. Mm-hmm. Bastion, you got unlocked those badges that made things harder, but you got more experience in it.
Yeah, so you can good.
The sequel to Bastion did that as well.
Transistor,
thank you. That name does it. Yeah, did exactly the same thing. And I like the way they do this because it kind of controls the way you create the dungeon, and it also controls the loot that you get from it. So if you use all 4 of the optional items, you will actually get some very high-level gems to put in your weapons that you can't find in the main game. Yeah. It's totally not worth it, but you can do that.
Do you want an extra 2% on your physical damage when you're at 10% or less health?
Yeah.
Sign me up. Oh, it doesn't fit in the socket on your weapon? Okay.
Yeah, well, fuck. Even though, and that's a thing, too, because another reason why collectors... and by that, I mean not in-game collectors, but people who play Bloodborne to collect things, love these is because you find variants of weapons.
Yes.
And one of the main way that those are variants is because they can accept different gem sockets. Yeah. So if you want to have a Blades of Mercy that takes crescents rather than, triangle gems, this is your bag.
Have you guys talked about gems on the podcast at all?
We just got the tool. Yeah, we just got the rune one. We have a little bit, but we probably could stand to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we don't have to get into it. I was just kind of curious. I didn't remember one way or the other.
We talked about how cool it is that you're mashing blood into your weapon.
Yes.
I do remember that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't talk about how that actually articulates very much. So we will.
Yeah.
But to me, like some of that feels like PvP optimization.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting the absolute best version of the weapon that you want that can accept the absolute best gems is never necessary in the main game. Rarely necessary even in the Chalice Dungeons. So it just becomes like this weird optimization strategy that is for something I'm not planning to do necessarily.
Yeah.
Which is just another way of not necessarily saying these are bad, but just not 100% for me. They're like 60% for me, or 65. They're not, whereas the rest of the game is 100% for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One of my complaints too is if you kind of do want to play more Bloodborne, but you're kind of done with the story, so you look at Chalice Dungeons as an option to like, hey, I'm going to see something new, and you decide to co-op, like, hey, I'm just going to ring my bell and let someone summon me when I help them with their game. The rewards are kind of dog shit. Like they're just not. It's just not fun. It's just echoes, and maybe you'll get a blood gem, assuming you get to the boss. Probably not, because the dude that you're helping is probably going to die at some point. Like it's just not fun, and you don't get to fight. Like it's not like putting your sign down for Orsian at Smo, where you're going to have that epic experience. And this is just like you're going to get some stuff.
Even though like the dungeons are much easier to go through and much more fun playing them with somebody.
Yeah.
Some of them that I did for the show, I played through with Illusory because I was having a hard time with previously when we were going to do the Lower Pthumerian, I was having a hard time with the boss of that because that's one of my weaknesses is that boss. So I put out a call on Twitter to get help, and Illusory answered, but then eventually we just did other areas, and we went through co-op, and it goes by smoother and more fun when you have someone with you, but the rewards are bad.
Yeah.
So like it's like somebody doing you a favor. Like there's not very much in it for them. It's just kind of like, hey, yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean, doing co-op used to be a lot harder too, because they hid the item that you needed, the short root chalice, behind a boss, like pretty late in the progression of even what we talk about on this episode. Too.
Yeah.
Now you can buy it at the Insight Merchant, but up until I think the first patch, it was definitely kind of like something they locked you out of.
Also, you can if you open up your chalices, when you make them if you want to be able to get help or be invaded. If you want to be invaded, they have to be sinister, so use that sinister ritual material. But if you just want help, you open up your dungeon and you have a little glyph a little 6-letter code that you can give somebody, and you can set a password. So you can actually just co-op with your friends. Like, they make it easier than it's ever been in a Souls game to co-op, but there are other ways it's goofy. Like, that person has to have completed the dungeon up to where you're at. So you can't just get help on the boss. You have to do like the whole dungeon with somebody, or they have to do the whole thing up to your point.
I thought that changed with the recent patch, though. I thought you could just use the short route chalice.
According to Lucia, that would be, but the connectivity is shitty. I guess is what Illusory is saying about it. But they did make it like so it's easy to just play with a specific friend.
Yeah.
Which, just for boredom's sake, I would recommend doing this with a friend.
Yeah. And they're fixing that connectivity stuff all the time. Like, the most recent patch made it easier to matchmake through the password system.
Yeah. So yeah, this stuff is your challenge mode things, and Bloodborne, is already very difficult, but these get extremely difficult. The beginning of it is just kind of like early to mid game content, but later levels are meant that you should do these co-op or on a later new game plus cycle.
Yeah.
And the reason these things are static to your new game cycle. So you can do these at any point, and I think they're meant to be played over the course of several games.
Right.
Some of these later ones, if you're going to solo them, you probably need to be in New Game Plus or New Game Plus Plus to be strong, or you want to be at a comfortable level to tackle them.
Yeah, the guide recommends that for like anything beyond depth 4 or depth 4 and above, that you be 140 plus in Blood Echo level or whatever it is. And the game, like new game regular mode, caps out at around 80 in terms of their recommendations.
I wish the guide had been out earlier, because I went through all of the Chalice Dungeons, not just the ones we're talking about today. I went through all of them at like maxed out at soul level 100, still thinking there was going to be a PvP scene, and thinking like, I need to, this is going to be level based PvP invasion, so I'm going to keep this character kind of low. And it was miserable, guys. I'm not going to lie. It was not fun.
I can't imagine that it would be anything but. In a weird way, though, Chalice Dungeons are kind of great for like zoning out and listening to podcasts.
Oh yeah.
While you play Bloodborne, because there's nothing to pay attention to. I mean, there is, but there's no story. There's not going to be any cutscenes or any dialogue or anything. You need to think
there's
about
stuff
that
to pay attention to. There's nothing to think about.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Nothing is going to take up the audio track in your brain.
Yep. Yeah. So it is a good podcast thing. So without further ado, that's kind of our 101 entry on Chalice Dungeons. Forgive us if we've got anything wrong, or if there's anything we didn't cover that we eventually will cover when we talk about Lauren and Ice, or Ithil rather. But let's talk about the chalices we're covering today. And we're not going to go point by point through these.
No.
Because they're really repetitive again. We're just going to talk about some individual scenes that we like in the layers, and then hit the bosses.
Yeah. Because that's where the magic happens.
Yes.
Sometimes quite literally. It's fire magic.
Yes. Yeah. Which is interesting from a lore perspective.
Yes.
Why is there no pyromancy in Bloodborne? Well,
there is. There totally is. You just can't use it.
Yeah, it existed in Pthumera. There was a race that had extensive blood magic and pyromancy. That's interesting.
Yeah,
you just had to dig to get it. So.
And that one werewolf.
Oh yeah,
but I think he escaped.
Yeah, he's he shows up later, so we know his origins.
Yeah. Let me see here. I just want to ask one more question, because this is also related to the messengers and lore kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Jeremy. Or Gary, I would ask either of you, did you realize that you can light up those messenger lamps outside of certain doors?
Yes.
I did not until I was looking at the guide to prepare for this episode. So like, my normal Minecraft strategy of, you put torches on places you've been, totally unavailable to me. So I was wandering around lost, and I already have a terrible sense of direction in these games. So
yeah, they're very the messenger connection. Even aside from that, it's very interesting because there are messengers and statues to messengers in Pthumeria. So at some point they came from there, presumably, and they're also not always benign. Like some of the traps are take the shape of messenger statues. They don't look exactly like messengers coming out, but the fire breathing traps that you run into are a little reminiscent of messengers. So that is, I've never gotten my hands on the lore of messengers. Like I've never really understood them. I don't know if maybe you guys have, and you guys can let me know. But I never really quite understood them, other than just kind of like helpful imps that play around like babes and love hunters and support them.
Yeah, like dressing up.
Yeah,
and wear funny hats. Yeah, exactly.
All of mine wear cracked pots on their head right now. But I just wonder, So there's got to be something to them, and it's connected to Pthumeria, but I don't actually know what the connection is.
Right.
So
yeah, the Pthumerian Labyrinth, you start out, and all of these are going to be 3 layers until you get to one particular level later on. But yeah, this one starts out with kind of like this big empty ravine with these rats and some kind of poison water at the bottom.
Yeah. So we're going to be dealing with that. And it does look like one thing these areas do well aesthetically is that they look gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like this oily water. And then later we run into just kind of corpse-filled areas where it's like, oh, this is like fat and oil rotting from these corpses.
Yeah.
Like this is disgusting. And that's great. Like they do a good job of making it, look lived in a disgusting way.
Does it make it to your top 5 worst smelling Souls locations?
It probably.
Yeah.
I mean, later on, we're going to get to some places that look an awful. They look really defile-y.
Yeah. Lower Hintertomb. That's a bad smelling area. We run into some new enemies here. Rats we've seen before, and kind of just like regular Pthumerians, these Dreglings, which are not, are just dudes.
Yeah.
And we run into these Labyrinth Watchers, which are these big kind of like shiny babies. Like they're nude. Like you can see their butts.
Well, that's
oftentimes.
the Merciless Watcher.
Oh, okay. He's mercilessly nude.
Yeah. He has no mercy on your eyes.
Even when you knock them down, you oftentimes enough see their weird, smooth, like genital-less crotch area.
Yeah, they're Oblivion horse texture ding dongs.
Yeah, they're real shiny.
Yeah,
it's real gross.
Nobody
man.
loves oily Homer.
They're so oily.
I love their tactic too, which is just to roll around.
So apparently, I've heard a lot of people say that this is a Dark Souls 1 PvP callback because so many people in Dark Souls 1 PvP were naked, fast-rolling with a big giant weapon that they created this monster-looking creature to guard some of these switches, which I thought, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, it's absolutely hilarious.
That's pretty great. Because they come in different varieties.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones who are clothed, who are they kind of wear like Uruk armor or whatever, and have a bunch of different kind of weapons. And these variations are going to be the ones who, on this kind of variant, are going to guard the switches.
Yes. Yeah. We do run into traps.
Mm-hmm.
They're like swinging blades on bridges, like straight up Sen's Fortress style.
Yeah.
Here. And we run into these bell ringers, which are really important. They're going to be all over a lot of the Chalice Dungeon experiences we have, and they continually summon enemies until you kill them.
Right. These also pop in the regular game if you summon the Beckoning Bell. The sinister bell-ringing woman will pop in and either bring in harder enemies, the ones that glow red, or invaders who will come in as well.
Yeah. So eventually, you make your way through again, and we're just going to cruise through and just talk about set pieces. So if it feels like we're going quick, like there's honestly not that much to talk about these hallways, hallways and rooms. And then like that one goddamn room that's like the 2 bridges above an area full of incense burners where you can cross, but there's always like 6 exits and I don't know which way to go. And it doesn't end up mattering in the end which one you go to because they all loop back. So you
go to look at the strategy guide, and you're like, "How do these maps even make sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Like, where am I? Where did I start? Where am I? I don't get it."
Dark Souls is one of the hardest games to map.
Yeah,
I find like maps of Dark Souls are very rarely useful. And
they're beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like very beautiful, but very difficult to do, and it's because a lot of times because of the verticality involved. Like you would need almost like a Metroid Prime-esque moving 3D map to make it work. But eventually, you get the lever, and then you get to the first boss, and like some bosses are reused in Chalice Dungeons, but many of them are new, which is really cool. And you're running this first one, the Undead Giant.
Yeah, and this is kind of like if you took the Asylum Demon and gave him big old like scythe arm things.
Yeah,
a little bit. It's your regular kind of big dumb guy fight where you're trying to get around behind him. Except because it's both of his arms that are weapons, he has a little bit of reach to get around you.
Yeah, and there are multiple variants of this guy too.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep running into this guy.
Yeah,
And he's super gross. Like he's got that big pustule thing. I don't know if I said that word right. Pustule.
Yep.
On his leg that you can burst and it hurts him and blood splatters everywhere. Like the dude is just super gross.
He's got candles embedded in his back.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's been reading Madonna's 1992 book,
sex book.
Yeah, I don't know if it's 1992.
Is that a thing? Sex book? I know that Madonna's Sex was called Sex, where she talked about squatting over a mirror or whatever. But
yeah, she talked about candles too.
Okay.
I think she talked about candle wax being an erotic thing. You guys ever put out a candle on your dick? It's not erotic. It's a boner buster and a half if I've ever felt one. Like
out of necessity, like you had nothing else.
Like somebody's pointing a gun at me and it's the only source of light in the room, and I need to make a quick escape.
Yep. Your hands were up, and
my dick is erect over the candle.
Yep.
And I have to use it like a bell.
Yep, exactly.
To snuff it out and then dive out the way.
Yep. And you can't blow on it because you're trying to talk reason into this person who's pointing a gun at you.
Like I'm furiously trying to give myself a Kegel orgasm so I don't have to actually touch the.
It's like Bluetooth, man. Hands free.
Yeah. Been trying for years. Yeah. But anyway, getting candle wax on your dick doesn't feel good, even if Madonna says it does.
I don't think you're supposed to put it on your dick.
I might have misread that.
I'm pretty sure the book specifically told. Like my stepdad had like a metal bound cover of this book specifically, and I remember looking through it, going like at like 14 years old, going like, none of this is real, right? Like has to be terrible. But I'm pretty sure someone at some point put candle wax on someone's dick.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that's the way to get a sternly worded letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so what happens after you fight Candle Dick?
After you fight Candle Dick, you go down this elevator. Before and after the main areas of most of these layers, there's a hallway, and you always want to make sure that you check these doorways. Sometimes they are just walls, but that is where we're going to find these treasure things. There's not one now. We'll tell you the first one we get to. But
yeah. One thing about the treasure rooms, the ones that are explicitly treasure rooms, is they're kind of beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
like,
it looks so great.
Really nice looking.
Like the red drapery.
Yeah. Like these are some of the most visually like well-designed areas, I think. Mm-hmm. Like they just look really, really cool. The actual treasure you get is not that fun, but and the treasure chests are all unique too. Yeah. Like it's very rare that you run into a treasure chest from the that you would see. They're elaborate. Sometimes you're opening coffins. Sometimes it's these big chests, and sometimes it's these small ones.
Mm-hmm. I love the wee little chest, the little tiny chests. Those are so cute.
Yep. Little toy chest.
I don't know, like if this is true, but Layer 2 feels darker than Layer 1. I don't know if that's something they did intentionally or if it's just something that I noticed.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But chalices are definitely not for people who are using a two-handed transformed weapon.
Yeah, you want the torch or the light that you attach to your belt.
Yeah,
in these areas.
Bagmen show up here on Layer 2. Guarding some ritual blood, which again, if we wanted to go mad from not drawing any conclusions, I don't know why bagmen show up where they show up.
I don't know. Like they are not what is it?
The channelers.
Yeah, the channelers for this game. Like I want them to be, but they're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also these flaming arrow traps, and I'm saying here that areas warp in, or enemies warp in, but that might just be because of the sinister ladies. It felt like they were warping in independent of those encounters.
Well, they do. There are traps you can step on where they appear. Is that what you're talking about?
Where they spawn.
Yeah.
Just where they'll pop up surrounding you. And like those dreglings, I mean, yes, they are dreglings, but they will like outnumber you, and they attack very quickly in a way that the crows do that specifically subverts the regain system.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to really use your space to your advantage if you get caught in one of those traps. Like get out of the circle and then try to find get them to a choke point. Yeah. The thing about the bagmen, just real quick, going back to the lore reasons why they're there, if there are any, you could argue the places where they're collecting people for the reason we'll ultimately find that they're collecting people in general. But at some point in the game, and this is I guess a minor spoiler, but they disappear. Like there are no more bagmen. Mm-hmm. If you get past that point in the game, there are still bagmen in the labyrinth. So I don't know if they just didn't get the memo, or if it is like because there are
they don't get any reception down there.
Yeah, exactly. There are some weird things about like I hate using time travel as any kind of supposition when there's no reason to think it's there. But there are some weird things that we'll run into when we start running into certain reused game bosses that are here that I don't know why they're here. If it's not time travel, like there are things that are down here that my understanding is they're unique. I don't know why there's another copy of them here. Did you guys come to any conclusions there without getting too spoilery? I know I should just have this conversation in 4 months, but like it just occurred to me like that this kind of reminds me of that. Like if the bagmen are still there from when bagmen are active, like they're just plumbing the depths looking for people, which would make sense. Why are they still there unless there's some kind of timey-wiminess going on that also explains why certain other bosses are down here?
Yeah, after Dark Souls 2, I just kind of stopped asking myself, why is this enemy here? Because there was never any satisfactory answer. Scholar of the First Sin did a good job in correcting some of that, but with these guys, especially in the Chalice Dungeons, where everything feels like they just hit the random button and then saved 10 of the random generations, like, okay, these are going to be our 10 story chalices. Like, I can't come up with a good reason without getting into some pretty crazy sci-fi time travel universe on top of a universe, multiverse type things. So I'm like, they're there. That's good. They drop stone shards, bloodstone shards sometimes. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, my closest reckoning is no less of a cop out. Is just because old ones or because dream, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing concrete specifically for why you encounter some things that are definitely like really unique and pinned to the cosmology of this world.
Yeah.
Like I can't get some kind of causality there because one of those had to be the real one. And it may just be like, this is some lesser some lesser version of that, which, I mean, how difficult would it have been to change the text on those guys and say so-and-so's nephew or whatever?
Yeah. I don't have an explanation for it. And I want people to, that's your challenge. People who are listening to the show is let me know why that happens. And even if we don't read it on the show because it spoils later things, I want to know what people's thoughts are.
Yeah.
So you get to the boss of this area, which are the Merciless Watchers and Chieftain. And these are 3 of those ogres at the same time. And this is these are interesting fights. This gets repeated a couple times, but the Chieftain stands in the middle and he has a blunderbuss. And the other 2 guys kind of harry you. It reminds me a little bit of the a boss fight we'll get to, the Shadows of Yharnam, just using the name, but where it's like 3 different things with 3 different movement speeds. And trying to manage them a little bit.
This is also a crazy arena because this is one of the stock rooms, like this kind of multi-tiered staircase place with the chandeliers. And it feels specifically set up for this encounter because of the one that has the gun.
Yeah. Yep. And he's just there essentially to interrupt you while you're fighting the other 2 guys. Yep. It's not amazingly hard, but it's neat. Like a lot of the boss fights in the Chalice Dungeons actually like.
Yeah.
After that, you get to the layer 3.
Which does introduce some variety. Like this is a massive underground garden, at least a portion of it is.
Yeah, that big middle set piece, which will run it. The thing is, every time they introduce a new set piece, they just use it a lot.
Yep.
Which is a bummer. Like this thing shows up all the time from here on out. Okay. We end up running into this new enemy, this fluorescent flower, which is an enemy we do run into in the main game. We just haven't run into yet.
But only once.
Yeah. And it makes sense for it to be there too. Like like if it's going to be somewhere in the main game, it makes sense it's where it's at.
And I would say that like it's worth running into in the main game first because it's such a once you see them in the game, it's so dramatically different from any other enemy that you fought that it's so new, and especially in the area that you guys will eventually talk about, like seeing it right there, you're like, what in the hell is going on in this game? I don't understand it.
It cuts such a strange silhouette. So what this looks like, it looks like a cross between a gigantic, like 2-story tall centipede. 2 stories probably overstating it. But it looks like a gigantic centipede crossed with like a flower, but running up its gut is like a seam of gaping dragon teeth. And it has this kind of like glowing bulb, and it uses to do like these kind of energy attacks that you really haven't seen done so far outside of like the brain suckers.
Yes. Yeah, they also have a swooping around, like they move. So they don't just do that because you think like, oh, let's get close and fight them, but they actually will get kind of swoop around and hit you from behind. Like there's not really a safe zone on these guys. The two ways that I try to take them on is either out damaging them quickly, or their heads. They have multiple targeting areas, which not very many enemies do in this game, and their heads take a lot of damage to distance weapons. Like I was playing through with my arcane build, and spoiler, like they did not buff arcane very much in that patch, so I'm still not doing very much damage. But if I'd use a projectile spell against their heads, I could almost one-shot them with it. But I just had to hit them in the right spot, which is kind of neat. And the way when they die, their bodies fade away, and their head falls as kind of a flower, which makes me think that their bodies are not actually there. They're made of energy or from this other dimension or something like that.
Yeah.
The effect is really, really unsettling.
I love the design. Like, these things are so creepy. They just don't look like they belong anywhere.
Yeah.
They also are super weak to poison, which I only discovered because you don't get many great gems in the main game. And when you run across this, I just happen to have a poison gem on my weapon, and you hit it one time and it starts ticking health down. So, I mean, I never actually tried the poison knives, but I'm sure that just like that, you could hit a couple. Like, would make this area pretty easy since there's two of them in this area. You could, tag them with the knives and then go do something else and then let them die on the side.
Or make later areas where they just copy paste these guys. Like, there's two of them here. Later areas where there's 12.
Remember this? Now there's 3.
Yeah. Well, and even more. Like, there's an area where there's like literally 8 of them.
Jesus.
So it's the same arena. It's just there's 2 of them in each corner covering each other. It's a nightmare.
Or it's not, because you can literally just run through it. You aren't missing that much.
That's true. That's the thing, right? Like, you can do that for all of the Chalice Dungeon shit. But if you miss those upgrade materials, you're going to have to go back and get them. Yeah. And I'm trained by Souls games and Bloodborne to think I am missing something.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't want to run through something the first time, but like, that arena is fucking unreasonable, the one I'm talking about. And I can't remember, I think it's in Lower Pthumerian Labyrinth, so we're not going to talk about this episode, but it is unreasonable. Like, it is a really, really obnoxious arena that, like, I'm just torn. Like, I want to clear this out because I'm playing a Souls game and I want to clear it out and see what's to be seen, but it is so tough. Like, there's other enemies too. It's not just the 8 of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys drop arcane haze, so you need that as a material later, and there are plenty of these guys. But eventually, you also get an arcane haze extractor, which allows you to turn other ritual materials into arcane haze.
Yeah. There's a treasure room. This is the first treasure room that we encounter. You just have to really be paying attention. I missed these at first, and I had to watch some kind of like Chalice Dungeons explained video. And I'm sorry, I don't know who made the video that I watched that actually kind of like laid out the rhythm of each of these floors. But if you are kind of in a chalice haze, like one tends to be, then you may run past them. So always make sure you check those pre and post hallways.
You had chalice hypnosis.
Yep.
Like just night driving. So eventually you get to the boss of this chalice, which is the watchdog of the old lords.
Such a good name. Such a good boss too.
Yeah. I think these guys are really hard. They're big lava dogs. And their face is way bigger than you think it would be.
Go fighting lava dogs.
Yeah, go Minnesota lava dogs. And they kind of do some tricks we've seen before in previous games, but not in Bloodborne. So like they have an element of area control where they will kind of barf up lava and make certain areas of the arena, untenable to you.
Yeah,
I also really like fighting this thing because if you hit its head enough times, it breaks off its carapace, and then if you hit its head after that, you do way more damage. That's one thing I really like about Bloodborne's bosses, specifically this one, and how there's kind of a levels of interactivity going. That not only do they have phases, but you can kind of chip off their armor, or you can hit a sore spot on their leg or whatever.
And that's so weird too, because like you don't really see that in many other places, even in this game, where like most bosses, as you phase them, they get tougher. They either get more aggressive or they get more evasive. And here, you're actually like very tangibly turning the tide in your favor.
Yeah, like oftentimes it would just be, you fight it until it eventually roars and some particle effects pop out, and then it's angrier. But here, and you also can break all of its legs. If you focus attacks on any of its legs, they'll break, and it will stagger it for a moment. So you kind of have some tools to fight him, but he's also really, really aggressive. Has a very wide swath with its fire neck, kind of like Fire Blast. So it is very difficult to kind of stay behind him consistently. And he also has that AoE that all enemies that don't want you to get behind them have. So
and don't forget the charge. The charge will mess you up.
The charges are really rough. Because if you fail to roll through that or fail to get out of the way, that it won't one shot you, but it almost will.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, and this is the easiest he's going to be.
Yeah, oh yeah, and we're gonna fight him again, because it's Chalice Dungeons.
Have you guys both beat him later?
I have not.
No, I haven't gotten. No, yes, I have, but it was when the game came out, so it's been a while since I played it. It was in my first run through with Chalice Dungeons, where I didn't quite finish them, but I got further than I am for this show.
I was so happy when I finally finished that. I had to put the whole video up on YouTube, like it was an accomplishment. So ridiculous.
Are you just always recording?
The PS4 is always recording. So once you if you finish something, you just hit the share button and then save the video clip, and you can go back and edit it and upload it to YouTube from there.
Okay, I'm not a professional who makes media about video games or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So he drops the Central Pthumerian Chalice. So we're on to the Central Pthumerian Labyrinth.
Yep.
Layer 1, nothing happening.
Nope.
Nothing
new. I have 2 notes in my notes about this, which I was just typing down yesterday when I was playing through. And the first one is level is really boring, and the second one is about the boss.
Yeah,
that's it.
And we have 2 bullet points under this H3. So yep. So yeah, the boss again, also kind of nothing special, because we fought this guy under, I think, tougher circumstances earlier in the season.
Yeah.
This is the beast possessed soul.
Yes. Yeah. Who is the same guy who was at the bottom of the weird tower in the cathedral ward that led down to the little bagman area. So it's a pyromancer werewolf. Super, super aggressive. We're going to run into this guy later as well, and he's tougher than he is here. Mm-hmm. But he's still kind of tough here.
Yeah.
And also that fight was optional, and you could even just run past it. Mm-hmm. This is the first kind of mandatory one, or at least critical path one.
Yep.
Or you could just totally not find it on your first playthrough like I did.
Yeah, it's true. True. So you head on to layer 2, where this is like a little bit more, they introduce a new enemy. Mm-hmm. These slimes that drop from the ceiling, which are a classic Dark Souls thing.
Yep. I love the design on these. I don't know if they just ripped the mesh wholesale, but the fact that it is just skeleton jelly.
Yeah, they've got a lot of bones in them, which is really great.
Yeah.
And we're introduced to scorpions now. Mm-hmm. Which are pretty cool. Some of which are covered in baby scorpions, and when they die, they explode into tiny scorpions that scuttle away, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, that's pretty good. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah, and these guys will poison you.
Yeah.
There's some stuff like poison doesn't come up as much here as it does later, but yeah, they're starting to really play with status effects in a way that the main game does in spots, but not as pervasively.
God, just thank God there's not a frenzy chalice. I'll take poison all day long. But just the frenzy chalice dungeon would be too much for me. Another new enemy here, the Labyrinth Rite Keeper. Mm-hmm. Which is this hunched over witch that has these bowls of fire and skulls that shoot magic at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she looks like a potato bug or a pill bug, depending on what you call them in your region of choice.
Did you guys think that this was one of the witches from Hemwick when you first saw it? Because that's exactly when I first saw it. I was like, wait, that looks exactly like that other witch, but they're not at all. They're just kind of similar, I guess, similarly posed.
Yeah, semicircular crone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I recognized her immediately because of my semicircular Crohn's disease that I have. I poop entirely in closed parentheses.
It's like a Play-Doh fun factory.
Yeah.
Do you have to get a special toilet, or do you have an attachment that goes onto any toilet for that? Is that what happens?
Yeah, I have an attachment that goes onto any butt, and I use it on my butt. So it's easier than...
It's a converter.
Yeah, I've got a European poop converter. Diaper attached that allows me to straighten out my coils.
God damn it! First the dick wax and now this. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm the common denominator here.
I'm just trying to outdo the episode with Patty and CJ from 20 Humanities, where you did nothing but talk about male ejaculate the entire episode. So whatever I can do to make it as dirty as possible.
That's so quaint that you call it that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not a ritual material you find Saint's ejaculate, and it's just like a rusted Kleenex box from the old ones.
Rusty? Why is it rusty?
Because it's old.
Okay, cool. Oh, fuck. The Keeper of the Old Lords.
Yeah, I like this boss.
I really like this boss.
It was barely a boss fight for me. I ran up to her and attacked her, and she was done.
It depends on when you go here. Like, I think that if you go here later, she's super easy. But she is, you'll run into her as a regular enemy in the game. And she's a lot like a hunter fight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, except that she uses pyromancy.
Which, again, why can't I use pyromancy?
That's because it's a lost art. It's a Pthumerian lost art.
I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be something related to the DLC.
Oh,
we're going to get some.
I would really hope so. Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat. They've never done that. They never add like a whole. Well, that's not true. They add dark magic, or they add dark magic.
Well, I suppose that's what I mean.
Yeah. I dig this fight a lot. And then later you run into her in that area I was complaining about. There's one of these just wandering around. So there's just a boss from earlier wandering around this area with fucking 8 of those flower centipedes.
Can I say I am so happy to hear you say her, because I put a video of this, one of the later fights with this boss on YouTube, and I actually got like shitty comments for calling this boss a her as opposed to it, I guess. I don't know. And I even made a thing in the description because I was like, I don't know why I'm calling it her. Like, there's no indication that she's female other than like a tall pointy hat, which I guess a dude could wear just as well. But yeah, I got like shitty comments because I called this boss a her as opposed to anything else.
It's weird.
And I looked at the strategy guide. There's nothing in the strategy guide that just says it.
Yeah.
Which seems mean, but I mean, it could just be an it. But.
Well, Jeremy, a slip of the tongue is unforgivable. You need to be legitimate.
I guess so.
Exactly.
I do I do collect $70,000 of Patreon money every single month. So
I'm looking at pictures online. I think that she has like kind of a feminine walk.
Yeah.
Is maybe what I'm picking up on. Which is not obviously a man can walk with a feminine walk as well. But I think that she's got enough female signifiers to like comfortably make that assumption.
That's kind of what I thought too. Either that, or I was thinking she just reminded me a lot of Witch Beatrice from Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, that's where I was going. That, and also, like, if I'm in doubt, I will use her as a pronoun.
Well, at some point, like, yes, you can't actually determine the gender of anybody by looking at them, but that is the safe way to, like, if they're using, gender signifiers of one gender or another, that's what you err on the side of, mm-hmm. Like, you don't, if somebody's wearing a dress and wearing like a lady's hat and everything, you refer to that person as a her, because those are choices that person made to wear female signified clothes. Like, if they correct you, that's great, and go by that. But if, that should be the assumption that you should make. It gets into, I know this is a video game, so it's not real material, like real life, but it gets into some real kind of shady territory. Like, I don't want to refer to any person as an it without.
Have you played Dragon's Dogma? Either one of you?
No, I really want to. That is like in my pile of like big RPGs that I need to play and finish, along with like Nier and Witcher. So
I have not.
The comment that I got on YouTube was, no offense, not EC, but a lot of bitches need to go replay Dragon's Dogma and recall what the bandit mages looked and dressed like. And I'm like, dude, I've never played that game. I have no idea what you're talking about.
How can I take offense by that since it's so nonsensical? This is like, no offense meant. Here's a stream of word salad that like it does not make sense even within context. That's I don't know. That's obnoxious. Anywho, you fight this guy and you get to layer 3.
Mm-hmm. Layer 3, which has a new kind of Dregeling kind of enemy, which will ring a bell lantern. This is separate and distinct from the bell ringing woman.
Mm-hmm.
And this will just fill a room with corpses. In fact, raise them up like it's the undead crypt.
Yep.
Or like it's Josh Groban.
Yep. There's a very funny boulder hallway, which is just like a very Indiana Jones-esque trap that feels kind of out of place, but It's there.
It's just like they're calling back to Sins with every chance that they get. No, remember Sins Fortress? Everybody likes Sins Fortress.
Yeah. What if it were not designed?
What if we put Sins Fortress through Google Dreams? Actually, that would be a lot like this because of the eyes.
Yep, that's true. I like the pilgrims that you run into here, because there are a couple of different instances of non-aggressive enemies throughout the Chalice Dungeons, and every time I run into them, I like it. Just because if we are, kind of spelunking through this old civilization, it wouldn't make necessary sense that every single person that you run into wants to kill you. So these guys are like these. They're similar to the spirit you run into, these gaunt Pthumerians that can do these AoE magic things. But they're just non-aggressive. Like, they just stand there and look at you.
And if you attack them, they will quickly go back to being non-aggressive. Like, they will attack you and then go back to their routine.
Yeah.
So part of me wonders why they're called the pilgrim, right? Because a pilgrim comes from somewhere. So is this somebody who is coming from above to visit this holy place? Somebody who's affiliated with the church or with Bergenworth, or is this somebody coming from below?
They have like a Pthumerian look to them.
They do.
Yeah. So I don't think they're coming from Bergenworth. Maybe they're heading towards the surface from the bottom of the labyrinth.
Yeah.
And this is as far as they got, or I guess vice versa. Don't know. You find a treasure room here.
This is the first one that has like the crazy red cloaks. Also, it has a wonderful like dead meditating figure.
Yeah. Which these look really good. And you get that sage's wrist, which will be useful way later. And we fight another boss, and this is another boss I like a lot.
Yeah.
More or less, if the boss has like Old Lord or Pthumerian in the name, I'm into it. This is the Pthumerian Descendant.
Yeah. And this is kind of one of the less degraded versions of the Pthumerians that we've seen so far, right? Like, he has, this relatively unblemished skin. He still has like the dead eyes and the crazy mouth, but he is in good shape as compared to the ones we have seen so far.
Yeah. And this is, again, it's a little bit like one of those duel fights. He has these blades, and halfway through the fight gets a little bit more aggressive. He breaks his blades into pieces, I believe. Isn't it like a trick weapon?
Yeah.
Partway through the way. So that's interesting that the Pthumerians had trick weapons. I don't know exactly what to make of that. Is this also, or is it the guy later who has the crossbow?
It's the guy later.
It's the guy later. Yeah.
Gotcha. But this guy's pretty interesting. Like, this is a good fight.
I really love these one-on-one kind of duel fights, and it happens sporadically through the main game as well. But this just the dashing around, the dodging, and then the parrying and the visceral attacks, like, it's so much fun to play. Like, it's one of the highlights of the Chalice Dungeons for me. This one and then the last boss we'll talk about are just so good.
Yeah, I always like fighting a person. Like, I think the beast-based bosses in Bloodborne are the worst out of like the classifications between like otherworldly, human, and beast. Yeah. They're my least favorite. So on to the Hintertombs. There's actually a Lower Pthumerian Labyrinth, but we're going to cover that next episode probably.
Yes. And we're going here just because it's one that became available here recently. We found it on one of these bosses or the other, and also it is of a doable depth at this level, whereas the Lower Pthumerian Labyrinth immediately jumps up to 3, I believe.
Yeah, it's 4. There's 4 in the lower one, but the boss of the third layer is spoilery.
Yes.
So
okay.
Just to save you a couple of correction emails, the Hintertomb Chalice is in a chest, I think, on layer 2, and the only reason I know that is because I got to one of those big fancy chests on one of the side route treasure rooms, and opened it up, and there was absolutely nothing in there.
Huh.
I was like, what the hell is going on? And so I looked it up in the guide, and sure enough, it was supposed to be there, but I guess in New Game Plus, they don't even bother replacing it with like, I don't know, bloodstone shard or like a ritual blood. It was just an empty chest. But I got all of like the noise that you get when you open the big chest and everything, but just totally empty chest. It was really, it was kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer.
Yeah. So thank you for saving us those emails.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. This one actually has a little bit of a lore significance. Like, where is this in the labyrinth? This is kind of the annex. This is the place where the Pthumerians who are still tending this place are kind of chipping away at the walls and making a new kind of part of the labyrinth in order to store their dead.
Yes. Yeah, and they're just kind of like, when you run into At some point, I believe you actually run into somebody doing this. It might be in the later on.
Yeah.
But they are just kind of mindlessly doing a thing, which is like, I always like running into that in games. That's used when we do our Scholar episode, that's used a brilliant effect early on in Scholar of the First Sin. But just kind of the idea of this kind of going through the motions of what you did when you were alive.
Yeah.
I like a lot. So there are some new elements that are kind of introduced. There are these kind of exploding boxes, crates, or whatever these things are, jars. They're kind of different ones, I believe.
Yeah.
And there'll be an enemy poised above throwing Molotovs.
I thought that they were throwing Molotovs at like the corpse fat oil in the lake below you.
That doesn't burn. It's definitely like the objects that are there.
Okay.
That burn.
Significantly less metal, but okay.
Or that explodes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The corpse fat is still there. It's still gross.
But later you do walk through some liquid, because I noticed, and I thought it was today, but I could be wrong, where you when you walk through it, you kind of get a status bar icon that shows you're more vulnerable to fire. So maybe I'm just confusing this area with another one, but there are areas, Kole, that will make you light on fire just with the stuff on the ground.
Huh.
Weird.
There are also coffin traps here. Like if you see a coffin in a hallway, people bust out of it.
And that's why you always use a chain.
Yeah. Exactly. Coffin Gate has been solved. Like everyone from Yharnam went down here, saw this, and was just like, "Oh shit!" And then
guys,
locks and chains.
If you get to New Game 20, all of the chains come off.
Yeah.
They call it Bloodborne off the chain.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at that.
Oh, I'm gonna laugh at that. It's great.
The boss here is weird.
It is.
It's a man-eater boar, which we've been running into these guys pretty consistently throughout the main game.
Yeah, it's weird to be forced to fight one.
Yeah, here's another one. He's got a little bit more HP. The boar is like, we talked about it a little bit in the main game, but like, I always get one shot if I get caught in the charge because I get double hit. Does that happen to you guys as well?
Yeah.
You learn very early to dodge.
Yeah, I don't like that. And this guy, his arena is kind of built for that because there are pillars, but he will bust through them if he charges. So your instinct, or my instinct when I see one of these things, is to get behind something so it will finish its charge and I can fight it. But then it busts right through the pillar and one-shots me.
He got me that way too. It's really well designed.
Yeah, it is meant to fuck you up, but it's hard without any kind of cover to fight these things. And that's going to be a running theme in here in the chalices, is the arena being really important to the fight.
Yeah.
And that comes in later when they start kind of remixing regular bosses.
Yeah.
Where it's the same fight, but it's more interesting because of the weird arena you're in. But here it's just a man-eater boar. If you can dodge that first charge, just get behind it and stab something up its butt, and that's all you need.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm terrible at doing damage to these guys. I never feel like I'm actually getting a lot of mileage off of my attacks.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta fist the pig.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they charge, they're very easy to backstab. So layer 2, we run into these labyrinth madmen, who look like flesh versions of the mad ones, which are those things that the Witch of Hemwick summoned.
Yeah, I'd never put that together before. They do look like that.
Yeah.
So, we asked the question last time, how do they relate? Where do they come from? That might actually be, like a link.
Yeah, like they come from here. They are being summoned from prehistory, from this labyrinth. Because presumably this labyrinth is under all of Yharnam, right? Like, we get to it through the dream, but I don't imagine, like, the Bergenworth people got to it through the dream. I imagine they actually had an expedition at one point. You know? We never find that physical entryway. Like, we never actually find the connection between them. But the idea of everyone funneling through the Hunter's Dream doesn't feel right to me either. Like, I don't know. Does that? And not everybody dreams either. Like, we talk about how the game specifically calls out who is actually a member, who's part of the dream. You know, and they could get through the nightmare realm or whatever, which we'll run into later. Like, everything's dreamy weemy, but like it just kind of it just strikes me specifically as if like the labyrinth has to be more or less everywhere because it's so huge.
Yeah.
So maybe the Hintertomb is specifically under Hemwick.
It makes sense. It makes a sense.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of it existing below the world of the main game. And when the game first came out, me and a friend of mine were talking about how much more satisfying the Chalice Dungeons would be if they would have some sort of connection, like a shortcut back. Like if you could leave the Hintertomb and wind up in Hemwick, or if you could leave the Therud Chalice and wind up in, I don't know, Old Yarnum somewhere, how cool that would be. Like it would give you that kind of wraparound, like, no, this isn't just some random game world that they're spawning. Like I'm actually connected to this main world.
Yeah.
I really like that idea a whole lot. I wish they had done something with it. But I like the idea of being able to summon people from underneath. Something like that's just creepy and good.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So we have some kind of more terrain here. There's a gigantic blood and grease swamp. It's really disgusting. And it has this huge rope bridge. This is where the area kind of explicitly recalls the Defilement, Valley of Defilement, right?
Mm-hmm. Also a little bit of 3-2, the bottom of 3-2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the game didn't put the gutter in the main game. They put it in the Chalice Dungeons.
Right. Yep, and there's also an undead giant here who has a cleaver, but more importantly, he has a giant ass cannon, and he has his artillery, which can knock you off of ladders. I have found out.
Another new enemy you find here are the bubonic rats.
Yeah,
the rats that are covered with pustules are really disgusting.
Yep,
super gross.
Yeah,
super strong, and also they come at you in larger numbers than the ones from the previous, from the vanilla Pthumerian Chalice.
Yeah. And in this area, mad ones are generally guarding the levers.
Right.
So you eventually get to the ladder and you get to the boss of Layer 2, which is another undead giant. But this one has the cannon. And again, it's using that arena against you. Because it's very close quarters with him. So if you're very close, he can hit you and he attempts to. But if you get far away at all, he's going to blow you up.
Yeah. He has very poor coverage when you're up close, though. So it actually is a little bit easier to manage if you are getting up close and personal than the previous one, I found.
Yep.
Yeah. And then this takes you to Layer 3, which is kind of one of the more interesting ones from a level design perspective. But even that makes it hard to kind of explain what happens beat by beat. There are lots of tunnels and boulders. This is you're kind of going through this in circles in order to find a lever room, which is relatively hidden off to the side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very easy to get lost here. I was playing through this with Illusory, and I feel like it's unfortunate he might have been getting frustrated with me because I didn't have my microphone, so we couldn't chat.
Oh yeah.
So I would backtrack through an area that I'd already been through, and I just didn't realize I was doing it. And he was kind enough not to make fun of me for doing so. And then whenever I got to where I did the scream emote. Or the roar, because I was pretty pissed. But eventually you get to the boss of this, and again, we're talking about them repurposing bosses with the arenas. Here's our old friend, the Bloodstarved Beast.
I love this. This is so good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, because if they're going to reuse bosses, they have to do some kind of twist on them. And this one, he's in a arena filled with this poison water.
Yeah. It's like a web work of kind of safe ground that you can walk on. So, whereas the Bloodstarved Beast is a very aggressive enemy that you can control with these pungent blood flasks or whatever, which I decided to use this time because I didn't before and never had. Really effective. Mm-hmm. Even still, as you're trying to keep him from being right up on top of your shit, you are still trying to avoid being poisoned. Especially by him directly too.
Yep. But other than that, like not too special other than the arena. Mm-hmm. Like we've fought the Bloodstarved Beast before. Heading to the Lower Hintertomb. And this is, it gets darker here.
Yeah.
Emotionally and luminescently.
It's like, if this
another one.
If this is where they put the dead, like, is there any hope, man? Where are we going to go?
Well, you have to go through the vestibule of dead pets. And then you have to travel through the hallway of lost keys and stuff. Like, it just becomes, more and more depressing as you go.
Until you get to Peak Bleak.
Yep.
Yeah. But we mean atmospherically darker. Like, they are giving you less ambient light to work with.
Yep.
You're introduced to kind of like a new rank and file enemy that you're going to get, the Labyrinth Gravediggers, which are these hooded Pthumerian figures that have these sigils, and they will pick you up. Like, they will do this kind of, rock or Stone Cold Stunner-esque choke slam on you. He's a wrestler, right? It's like a wrestling move.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, cool.
As someone who hasn't watched wrestling since like 1987, sure.
Yeah, we'll call Brayton in on it.
Okay. But yeah, these are the guys who are wielding pickaxes, and you'll see them kind of leading these teams of dreglings in their labors.
Yeah. Yep. There are also spiders in this zone. They're just like the regular spiders in the game that you run into way later, without human faces.
They're tiny. They're much smaller.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you do there's another treasure room here with another madman.
I only made a note of this because it was very, very difficult for me to get him away from the spiders.
Really? Yeah, I don't remember having a hard time with this, but I don't. I might be misremembering.
Yeah,
I did this today and just tossed a pebble at him. And I cleared out the initial spiders and then tossed a pebble at him, and he just ran right over him.
So what's weird about it is like his like all of these Mad One's aggro distances are really, really high, and so as I was trying to lure them out, he would just come like just running and screaming at me. Yeah.
What an asshole.
What gives him the right?
Yeah. Then boss is the brain sucker.
Yeah.
Who's in a stair arena, but we fought this guy before.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Is this guy bigger than the ones in the main game? He seemed like a little larger, but it's been a while since I've played the main game, so I couldn't remember.
Feels like it, but it could be a venue thing.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. If anything, he's just got a little bit tougher. Like he's got a little bit of some more HP. But we fought these things before. These are just those Cthulhu-faced, Latvarian, or not Latvarian. They're Dr. Doom's minions.
Dr. Doom's monsters.
Latvian.
Yes.
Is what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're on to layer 2.
Layer 2, which starts getting creepier. Like this whole area is kind of like overgrown. There are like roots that are intersecting with the tunnels. It's very slipshod, their construction here. But now we start getting these trees that to me look like agonized corpses. Like all of them are kind of platooning to an extent. And these are kind of acting as pillars, obstructing your view. I've had some enemies jump out from behind them at me.
It's so weird that they introduced these really cool kind of set pieces. Like I like the gigantic swamp of corpse fat in this area or in these areas as well, but they're just so rare. Like it just takes a long time for them to start introducing these new elements that I don't know if they're like all the leftover elements. It's kind of spicing a dish,
Yeah.
So this is also where you run into more non-aggressive enemies. Which I like. There's a room where they're all worshiping this tombstone,
which is super creepy. Like they're all in those weird positions. Like you'll encounter an NPC in the game much later that gives you a gesture that's really, really cool. And they're all that's what that reminded me of. It's like they're all in these weird like tortured positions. It's very, very creepy.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what that tombstone was though.
Neither could I.
There's no writing on it or anything. So like it's a neat little set piece, but again, it just feels a little bit half-assed. So it was cool to run into, but I don't know.
It was an old one or one of his lieutenants.
Yeah, something like that. But the boss here is really good.
Yeah, this is a hunter fight.
Yeah, the Forgotten Madman.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Forgotten Madmen, like their lost episode where Donald Draper, I don't know, pitches an iPhone. Like, I don't know what happened in the lost episode of Mad Men. I've never actually watched Mad Men.
Donald Draper goes to L.A. and commits a crime.
Yeah, exactly.
Ken Crosgrove is on the case.
Yeah, to join the case, join the force.
For people that have never seen Mad Men, you're doing a really good job describing the last season of Mad Men.
How'd you know I've never seen Mad Men?
Oh, well, Gary mentioned it. I just assumed.
But yeah, the Forgotten Madman. He's a hunter with the greatsword and also one of the rifle weapons. Forgive me. Do you guys know which one it is?
No,
I don't.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like the blunderbuss just because of the spray, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's definitely a rifle shaped one.
Yeah. Oh. It's a rifle one that looks like it shoots spread ammo, and also he's using a magical item, which we won't find till much later or encounter till next episode, called the Augur of Ebrietas.
Yes. Yep. Which is, even that name is new to us.
Yes.
At this point. So let's not talk about Ebrietas just yet.
Whoops. Okay.
No, you didn't talk about it. I didn't mean you have to cut out the name. I'm just saying, cool. I think names are fair game, but that will end up being an important thing.
Yes.
When we find it.
But what this means is he is a person who can do what looks like summoning tentacles to attack you at a distance.
Yeah, use magic.
Yeah.
Essentially. And the other kind of twist of this fight is he's joined by a buddy.
Yeah.
The Madman's escort. which is a great name for a boss. Who shows up with a big hammer to kind of.
I mean, if you're going to be an escort, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got him off of Craigslist, spelled with a Y and an E at the end for 1,000 kisses.
Called it Madam Insanity. At her.
So yeah, the escort only appears after you weaken the Forgotten Madman substantially, and joins in the fight. He's got the hammer, the gravestone hammer, and yes, the Kirk hammer. There we go. And makes life pretty hard for you. Like a dual type fight like this, especially with another hunter, is always going to be difficult. And now you're getting two of them, especially when you're not expecting it. It's going to get up under you.
Have you guys seen where he actually comes from? Because anytime it's happened to me, like I've tried to scroll the camera around to see if he spawns from somewhere, if he just literally spawns, but I haven't seen anything that prove it one way or the other.
I have not. I wonder if they're left for deading him and just popping him in wherever you're not looking.
Oh yeah,
yeah, probably.
That would be a bummer if they did that, but it's possible they did. They could just make him rise from the floor.
Yeah,
in the other Mad Ones kind of animation.
Yeah.
I mean, just speaking of that, Batman, the latest Batman game does some of that stuff so well.
Oh god, yeah, like that's so easily the best part about that game.
Easily, yeah, it's so much fun.
That's on the way, Gary.
Thanks. Then we can talk about Batman. We can do our Arkham Days and Arkham Nights podcast.
Watch out for Batarangs.
Yeah. Watch out for Firebug. Some would say the greatest Batman villain.
He's in the game.
He's in the game.
Yeah, he's the worst part of Origin. Batman Arkham Origins.
Well, real quick, the last thing about the Forgotten Madmen is that, and we didn't mention this with the Keeper of the Lords either, but this is beating these two bosses both open up their armor set for purchase in the inside shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which is really cool because the Bone Ash set that you get from the Keeper of the Lords has the highest fire resist out of the entire game, and then the Madman set just has snakes hanging all over it, which is very cool.
but it will interfere with your with any weapons that you have. Actually, like it'll clip through it, which really bums me out.
Yeah, that's kind of a Souls thing. That all the Souls games have those weird clipping issues.
Yeah. You mostly use that armor to stop snakes from attacking you, because why would a snake attack an armor made of snakes? It'd be an empty gesture.
Man, that would make the Forgotten Woods or the Forbidden Woods or whatever so much easier if that was true.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that pretty soon.
I forgot you haven't done that yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I was more saying, like, ugh. Because I like that area, but God, is that area, that part of it, a slog. Yeah. On to layer 3 here.
Yes. Layer 3.
Yep. This is really trappy. Mm-hmm. So even down to enemy traps. So there's a guy manning a cannon in a long room, a very dark room where it's hard to see him at the end.
Yeah.
That can, if you're not at full health, can very easily one-shot you.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to rush him.
That's like right in the middle of an area that doesn't have very many enemies.
Yeah. Yep. They keep this area kind of clear, and there are lots of treasure around that room to tempt you into picking up things while you get shot. Yeah,
but it's just manned by a regular Dregling, so you can get up there and then take them out, so you have easy pickings.
Yep. There's the guillotine traps that fall down, which are new.
Yep.
The one shot you, but that are pretty funny. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh shit. There's that. We also run into shops here.
Yep.
Or a shop here, which is the first time, and this can kind of happen in random dungeons as well. Mm-hmm. This one is a Bath Messenger one, and this is important because not only does it allow you to restock, but it also sells the defiled Lower Pthumerian Chalice, I believe. You get a Chalice.
The Sinister one, right? Not the defiled.
Yeah, the Sinister one. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You can buy a unique Chalice here, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
you can also spend way too much money on blood vials and bullets because the prices are way jacked up compared to normal.
Yeah,
it's a hazard fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they know you need it.
Do you know how much it costs to ship to the Hintertombs?
Yes, exactly. It's all the money is in logistics.
But there's all this blood just laying around. Well, blood everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Yeah, exactly. It's salt blood.
Yeah.
Or that's all salt blood. We need to find desalinated.
So the boss of this area, also another fantastic fight. This is a little bit like a mod of the Pthumerian that we fought before. This is the Pthumerian Elder.
It actually reminds me of a boss
awesome.
we're not going to run into for a while in the main game.
Yeah.
but it reminds me of a critical path boss, or non-critical path, an optional boss from the main game.
Yeah.
This is great. This is really, really good.
Yeah. So he looks similar to that boss. He still has like the red cloak and the crazy face, but at a distance, he will pull out this glowing, fiery, what appears to be like magically manifested crossbow to shoot you. And even when you get close, he's attacking with this kind of like gigantic scythe or sickle, kind of like a Lautrec's weapon. What's that called? I can never remember the name of it.
Oh, the
crap! The thing that goes through shields.
People are freaking out.
Oh my god! I can't believe I used this weapon for so much for my Karmic Justice build.
Must Google
because it has a weird name, like it's weirdly pronounced, but I can't remember it for the life of me.
This is ridiculous. Hold on. This is some of our worst work.
I put in a marker. Don't worry.
Okay. No, I almost think this should just stay in because this is. I got it now. A shotel.
Okay, there we go. The shotel.
Yeah. I always called it a shottle or a shotel, but everyone else has it weird. So.
Well, we couldn't come up with it off the top of our head, so we're frauds.
I'm reducing your Patreon contributions.
So he uses kind of this sickle shotel thing, but he does these like wire fu moves. Mm-hmm. Like when he's doing that, he does these kind of like crouching tiger, hidden dragon, like flying across the room shit. Mm-hmm. To get you with it, which is really, really fun, that you can actually interrupt. Yeah. And when you do that, that's super fun. Like this guy is very fun to parry.
So
and he teleports too. He's so much fun when he starts teleporting around the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's not too much more to it. Like he is just a very cool. This is a great boss.
Yeah.
It's a duel. Like this is where they hit a lot of the duel fights is in the labyrinth, or in the chalices.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have the design works for Dark Souls 1, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the concept art for the Pyromancer class? One of them was like a really old dude with the cane. That's what this reminds me of, is that original design for the Pyromancer. Like that, because he's always hunched over on that cane and using the weapon in the other hand. Like it just really reminded me of that when I was playing through it again today. And I don't know. I really like this boss. Like I went online and tried to find anything else I could about him, and there's literally nothing out there for him.
Yeah.
So. No, like that's the thing too. Like I've complained in the main game about like, oh, this beast is just another member of the church. Like, these bosses are all fun fights we've been talking about, but up until the end of the Chalice Dungeons, there's not lore behind them. Like, there's not story behind this guy.
Yeah.
He's not a specific Pthumerian elder. He's just an old guy from Pthumeria you're fighting. Which is kind of a bummer if it wasn't such a good fight.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's kind of the like the whole thing about the chalices, though, right? Like, there's no reason for these things except to be fun to fight. Like chalices is all fights all the time.
Yeah. And sometimes
do you guys think we'll see anything like this in Dark Souls 3?
Anything like what? Like the Chalice Dungeons?
The Chalice Dungeons.
I think there'll be some other wrinkle, but every single Souls game has had some new, weird, unique wrinkle. Mm-hmm. So I like to hope that it'll be something that we can't even figure out at this point, that we don't know what it'll be. I would be curious. I want to know, when the Bloodborne Design Works book comes out, after they do the DLC and everything, I want to know what the creators of the game, how they look back on chalices.
Yeah.
Because there's an interview in the guide, but it doesn't have that kind of reflective element.
Yeah, it's looking forward, not looking back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they think that if they consider them to be a success or not.
Well, they're constantly tweaking them.
Yeah, that's true. Which either bespeaks, care or regret.
Either of which are fine.
Yeah, both of which are fine too. Like, and the thing with Chalice Dungeons, and I've said this before, is like, if I consider them a bonus, like, it would, Bloodborne is a very beefy game even without these. If I consider them just as like, here's some extra stuff, I like them.
Yeah.
If they were mandatory content, I would think it was the worst content in the game, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that experimentation should be, if not rewarded or lauded, at least acknowledged. And
yes.
Even looking at it as a bonus and looking further beyond that, if these are concepts, if these are designs, if these are even boss fights that we otherwise would not have gotten to see, I'm happy that we got to see them. It's only regrettable that they are kind of packed in such a repetitive package.
If this is phase 1, I cannot wait to see phase 2, because I think like if this is their first effort and they're going to refine this over, say, Bloodborne 2, like that would be. I'm still into it. Like I like the concept, I just don't quite gel with the execution so much.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for our first wing of Chalice Dungeons. We'll be hitting this 2 more times, sprinkled throughout the season, along with our other special episodes.
Yeah.
And so that's Chalice's. Jeremy, thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me so much. This was a really fun time.
Yeah, it's always so great having you.
Yeah, we don't mean it. We're not necessarily kicking you off or anything. I just wanted to say thanks for having us on the for being on the Chalice Dungeon episode.
Well, again, I really enjoy doing the show, so thank you very much for having me, and it's always a pleasure.
Where can people find you around the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at JGGREER. I also have a YouTube channel under Not ECEC where I put up Dark Souls videos, Bloodborne videos, and even videos of games that aren't made by From Software. And then if you just have a thing about Dark Souls and foul language, you can find me at darksoulshaters.tumblr.com. That's where I collect all of the hate mail from Dark Souls games that I and many other people get. So come by, give me a follow, or say a like, or a reblog, or a comment, or I don't know any other social media terms besides those. Can you dig me on something? I don't know how any of that works. But, come in and say hi.
Can you try me? Can you try me real quick?
I'll give you some Zanga coins. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll hit you up with an LO buck.
My ICQ number is 45623.
Yeah, the thing about that blog is it is a lot of terrible language and terrible people who are on display, but it's interesting anthropologically.
Oh yeah,
like it is almost like a monster zoo of just like the worst of the community. Which I feel very good about the community in general, but it is also useful to have this kind of quarantine zone of shitheads that you provide. So thank you for being the shithead zookeeper that we need.
The most recent post, and you guys can bleep this out however you want to make it funny, but the most recent post has a sentence in it saying, "Welcome to my block list, you useless, no talent, trailer trash, motherfucking cunt hole."
Yeah.
Which gives you a pretty good idea of what you're going to find on the site.
and keep in mind, though, like the thing that is always amazing, and that I feel like there should just be a flashing sign that reminds people this when they're reading the blog, is that was in response to something that happened within the boundaries of Bloodborne. Imagine the worst thing that could happen to you that's within the boundaries of the video game Bloodborne, and that inspired that kind of vitriol. Was it a hacker? No. It was somebody using a weapon the guy didn't like. It's unreasonable. So what are we doing next time, Cole?
Next time we are doing the Forbidden Woods, and we are going to be joined by Bob Mackey of Retronauts and of usgamer.net.
Yeah. I am looking forward to that. Bob requested this area specifically. So, and it is a good one.
Yeah.
So, and there'll be a long episode. It's a big area. Mm-hmm. I think. And then after that, we have more stuff planned, more special episodes, more plot stuff. We will get to the no spoiler point at some point. So people who are frustrated about us not talking about this mysterious Abritus will eventually, be redeemed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to help out the show, you can head on over to iTunes, leave us a rating or review. It's been a little while since we had one of those. Yeah. And that's always appreciated. It helps people learn about the show, gets us up in the iTunes rankings, makes us one of what's hot, which I like feeling hot rather than not. and it just helps get the show in front of more people.
Yeah, we're up there in the rankings right now, which is cool. If you would like to support us more directly, and iTunes is a great way to do that, but monetarily, if you have a couple of bucks kicking around, and we totally understand if you don't, times are tough, but you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, and there you can pledge a certain amount per month and get some rewards. We're incredibly appreciative of everybody who chooses to support us that way. It does help us in ways that sometimes are not directly apparent, but we're talking offline about something kind of cool possibly coming up, and it's only possible thanks to your help.
Yeah. And if you don't have $1 and you don't have iTunes and everything, if you want other people to know about the show, you can tweet about it or blog about it or tell other people about it. If you don't even like that, if you don't even want to do that, you don't want to do anything, you just want to listen, that's also okay.
Yeah.
We still appreciate it. I think that's probably about it.
Just about.
Yeah. What else what should they do until next time, Cole?
They should seek misery so the blood might be sated.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon